liberty, and justice for all. If everybody could please remain standing for a moment of silence to remember those troops who lost their lives in defense of our freedoms, as well as those who continue to fight overseas to protect our freedoms at home. Thank you. If everyone could please be seated.
Mayor, could you just announce that the double yellow line will be on the agenda tonight? I think people are wondering why they don't see it.
Yes, that'll be, we're going to do that, that's going to be addressed tonight. Yes. Sorry, it was omitted from the agenda. Okay, first order of business is we're going to set the dates for the November meetings. The workshop, Wednesday, October 30th at 7 p.m. Do we want to move the board meeting because it's the night before the election?
Yes, please.
Do you want to do it later in the week? Wednesday? Thursday?
I'm not campaigning the night before the election, so we could
Sorry?
have it. I won't be campaigning the night before the election at that time. We could have it. It's fine with me. But it's up to everybody else.
If you could.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate to do it after. Does anyone have a problem? Thursday?
No.
Wednesday? Thursday?
Thursday's fine.
Okay.
Thursday's fine.
Thursday, November 7th. We need to we don't vote, we haven't set the meetings. So November, what is that? Tuesday?
7th,
5th?
yeah.
Yes, Thursday, November 7th. What? Oh, I'm going to be away. Thank you, my wife. Thank you, Stacy.
Good thing you.
I'm at a wedding.
Someone's keeping track of it.
Thank you,
Is
honey.
he home Wednesday?
See, I told you, Chicago. I
Is he home
can't.
on Wednesday?
It's my last meeting, so I guess I should be there. So the following week, right, we're not there Wednesday either, right?
Monday?
Okay, how about the following Monday on the 11th? No, is that okay?
That's a holiday.
November 12th.
Okay.
November 12th.
It's going to be a long night if we can't get past this
Yeah,
point.
right.
Tuesday, November 12th, 7:30.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, very good. Are we taking the speed limit off or no? We're good with that.
What speed limit? No, we have to take that. Which one?
Public hearing establishing
Yeah,
speed
that's-
limit. Okay, the first thing is we have a public hearing establishing a speed limit on Memorial Drive. Terry, you want to?
Says it all.
Okay. Chief, you want to just talk briefly like we normally do?
Yeah, one of the issues we have been addressing over the past several years is to reduce the speed limit on different roads throughout the village. By law, the lowest we can drop the speed limit to is 25 miles per hour on village-controlled roads, which Memorial Drive is. On state roads, Orange, Wayne, Lafayette, they control the speed limit, so I suggest that we drop the speed limit on Memorial to 25 miles per hour. Due to the fact you have a pool, Little League fields, and eventually that bridge is going to open up again as a cut-through. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Is there anybody from the board who has any comments or questions, or anyone from the public, please come up to the microphone. Okay, if not, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. What do we have, local law?
10.
Local law number 10. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Okay, moving right along. As many of you are here tonight, we have a public hearing on the Orange Avenue Development Zoning Petition. So, oh, yes, we have a substitution.
Does that matter?
Our Assistant Village Attorney, Robert Magrino, is working on this matter due to a conflict that our Village Attorney, Terry Rice, has in terms of the location of his private practice being in a building that's owned by the applicant. So for that reason, Mr. Magrino has been sitting on all matters related to this application. I'd like to start off by reading a statement, and then I will turn it over to the applicant. Good evening. I would like to welcome everybody here tonight. It's thrilling to see so many residents and merchants come out to discuss what is a significant step towards downtown Suffern realizing its full potential. I think a fitting way to start out is to put tonight in its historical context. Suffern first thrived from the late 19th century to the mid-20th century as a key stop on the Erie Rail. As Joyce Kilmer said in The House with Nobody in It, whenever I walked to Suffern along the Erie track. It was a time that saw the founding of an American icon in Avon, the building of Good Samaritan Hospital and Sacred Heart Church. There was a thriving downtown where you could enjoy stores like Janung's and the Showcase, where you could just about buy anything. Then, despite Mayor Patron's efforts to literally stand in the way, the Thruway came and cut Suffern in half. Ramsey's Interstate Shopping Center opened up, and Suffern's downtown took a downturn. But it's not like business disappeared. The Height family is still in the business of selling cars, but they're doing it on 17th South in Ramsey and not on Orange Avenue. We have made progress in the last 15 years through a streetscape project that brought new lights and brick-paved sidewalks, crosswalks, and a multi-year facade program that is just getting started. We have great restaurants, and we need to thank the Ben Moshe family for saving the Lafayette Theater. And while Suffern is a great place to live, where we provide quality services and offer residents a value compared to surrounding communities, our downtown is not the economic engine of our village that it once was and that it could be again. So tonight, we are not just discussing whether we are willing to allow a building on Orange Avenue to be built. It's so much more. Tonight, we get to choose our future, one which can be as rich as our storied past, or one which can be mired in a stagnant present. And while historical context can add drama to the story of this evening, when you strip it down, this is a discussion on whether we want to make an honest effort to bring economic development to our downtown. As such, it is more than appropriate that we discuss the merits and drawbacks of building a 111-unit, 6-story building with rents from somewhere between $1,500 and $2,400 for 1- and 2-bedroom units. A building that provides for 1.5 parking spots per unit. And we should discuss whether we think that a building with a 24-hour-a-day doorman service, a rooftop garden and gym that is located just a stone's throw from the train station is a good thing. And most importantly, do we want to fulfill what we decided to do more than 5 years ago when we declared this location blight and adopted an urban renewal plan that called for a building very much like what is proposed tonight? Some, like me, believe that a building that will be visible to everyone who rides the train through Suffern will attract the type of residents that earn a high income and are attracted to amenity-driven communities where they can walk everywhere and have easy access to mass transit. It will generate foot traffic into our restaurants and shops and will bring the new stores we need to fill our current vacancies on Lafayette Avenue. To borrow a quote from one of my and Stacy's favorite movies, if we build it, they will come. Some may not share that vision. Some thought Ray Kinsella from Field of Dreams was crazy, and that's okay. That's why we're here tonight. However, this discussion can and will not turn into a shouting match, a who claps louder fest, or a fear forum about Section 8 housing when anyone with an ounce of responsibility and an internet connection would tell you that is an impossibility. And our taxes are too high, and everyone here tonight's time is too dear to allow this to become about history based on a complaint someone may have against Josh's grandfather for their leaky faucet in Bon Air. The only history we should be talking about is the Goldstein family's track record of building what they say they are going to build, and it's standing the test of time. Anything less is a waste of time and money and sends a clear message to anyone who would consider investing in Suffern that its government isn't serious. Tonight is about moving the ball down the field versus putting on a show, doing a dance, and walking away when real decisions have to be made with the excuse, hey, it's not perfect. We need to be serious and recognize that the perfect cannot be the enemy of the good. Tonight, we are not granting final approval for this project. This is a hearing about changing the zone to allow for this building to be built. It still will be months before the final project is approved. The height and number of units requested are what the developer is seeking in order to move forward and close on the properties needed. The land that comprises this project was owned by 4 different property owners, and the applicant was able to put a deal together without the use of eminent domain, even though it was allowed under the urban renewal plan, and it has eluded others for more than 10 years. If they are not able to move past this step and get the requisite zoning, the property will go back to its current owners and uses. After a presentation from the applicant and our consulting planner, we will open the forum to public comment. We are limiting each participant to 3 minutes. I will keep the clock and warn each person at 1 minute, and then we'll give a wrap-it-up sign at 15 seconds. We ask that the person be seated after their time is up. No follow-up questions. I ask that everyone respect the rules so we can have an open and honest discussion based on facts. Thank you.
Do you want to speak? Tell them they have to sign up.
If anybody wants to speak, please sign up. I have some names, and there's more of a list down there. Okay. You're on.
Wait, don't make Jack Rosenberg walk down here to sign up if he wants to speak.
Yeah, just
Wait,
have-
wait,
we'll put him-
stop, Jack, stop.
Jack, we'll put
Adam,
you on the
get
list.
him.
Jack, we'll put you on the list.
Yeah,
You going to write it for him?
yeah,
Get up and write it.
please.
It's good to have friends.
I asked him if he...
Thank you.
There you go.
What?
I wouldn't think that. If I'd been thinking it would have been.
What's that? Great. Thank you, Mayor, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen from the public. For the record, my name is David Smith. I'm a senior development advisor with VHB Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, PC. Our offices are in White Plains, New York. I'm here tonight on behalf of Orange Avenue Associates. That's the applicant that has submitted a petition to rezone approximately 1.47 acres, bless you, of land within the village of Suffern. It's currently zoned CB, Central Business. The proposed application is for a new designation called Transit Development District, TDD. The mayor has gone into some length to describe the planning background that the village has undergone over the past 5, 6, 7 years in considering the Orange Avenue corridor. Behind me is a graphic that shows the area that the village adopted as their urban renewal plan. It's approximately 1.67 acres. It's slightly larger than what the applicant is proposing to rezone. But in essence, this is the area along Orange Avenue and Chestnut Street. The proposed urban renewal plan that was adopted by the village contemplated a program that would have allowed for a development of 100 residential units and 5,000 square feet of ground floor retail commercial. What is being proposed as part of this action, part of the rezoning, and if anybody would like a copy of the proposed zoning amendment, there are copies here in the front for those who would like them. The application materials that we have submitted to the village are, it's my understanding that they are also available online on the village website. With me tonight is Joshua Goldstein. He's a managing member of Orange Avenue Associates. I'm going to ask him in a couple of minutes to provide some of his background and relationship to the project. With respect to the proposed rezoning, we have included language that was adopted as part of the urban renewal plan, some of the considerations, important planning considerations relative to redevelopment within this part of the village. And with respect to the findings and intent, we've recognized that the proposed rezoning, the intent is to redevelop deteriorating and underutilized properties with residential and limited commercial uses designed to serve local area residents, to create new housing opportunities within the village, to provide support for downtown retail and service establishments in the adjacent downtown through the development of new housing, to help support the use of an environment surrounding the New Jersey Transit Suffern Station, to enhance the aesthetics and overall image of the project area, to generate a positive trend in neighborhood real estate values, to improve public safety, and to help generate economic activity. It's important that as we consider some of the market considerations that help drive not only the planning but also real estate economics, is to understand some of the demographics. And we have a chart that's been prepared. That summarizes some of the demographic trends that are occurring not only locally but nationally. And in essence, everybody is familiar with the baby boom generation, a significant population that's starting to get older, that's starting to look for different housing opportunities. Perhaps they have a single-family home, the kids have moved out, they don't want to have the responsibility of having to mow the lawn, take care of the furnace, paint, and so they're looking for different options. They're looking for an apartment or a condominium type of arrangement where services could be provided, where they are within walking distance of shops and retail, of churches, of schools, of all the amenities that they would like to have. Yes?
Wait,
Can
Dagan?
you hear back there?
No, I don't think the microphone's...
It went off.
Yeah.
Take it out, plug it back in.
Unplug it, the back.
Just pull it out. Pull it out and plug it back in.
Hello? No, it's down there.
Check.
Yeah.
Okay, is it better?
That's better?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me just quickly summarize. There are basically two demographic trends that are helping to shape the market. One is the baby boom generation, those folks that are getting older. Their children may have moved out, empty nesters. They may not want to have the responsibility of living in a single-family home, and they want to have a place that has amenities, that's close to shopping, close to services, that's close to existing family. That's one end of the demographic spectrum. The other end of the spectrum are the millennials, those people who are between 19 and 30, who not necessarily have lived in single-family homes other than when they're growing up, who are used to apartment living, who are used to having amenities available to them within walking distance. So there are two demographic factors that are helping to drive not only the market here in Suffern, but throughout the metropolitan area. Obviously, this site has very convenient location to the Suffern train station. You're approximately 500 feet walking distance to the entrance to get onto the train. And from there, it's approximately an hour to get into to Manhattan and the area there. So there's a significant market opportunity. And one of the things that good planning intends to foster, and this is part of smart growth, it's part of transit-oriented development, is to look at fostering development in downtown settings, development where the infrastructure is there to support it, to have distinctive and attractive sense of place, to create walkable neighborhoods, and to use transit, mass transit. And the graphic that we had prepared and submitted with our initial submission provides the center of the bullseye is the project site, the area that's proposed to be rezoned, and the circle around it is approximately a quarter-mile walk. That's a very comfortable walking distance. And you'll see that within that distance, within that circle, you have convenient access to the Lafayette Avenue commercial corridor, you have the post office, you have Village Hall, you have the theater, you have a number of banks, commercial institutions, religious institutions. So basically everything is within a very convenient walking distance, and that's part of transit-oriented development, is to put less emphasis on the vehicle, a single automobile, and more emphasis on walking and getting to those services close by. So the zoning that we have proposed has been submitted to the Village Board. They are the one body that has the power and the authority under New York State law to create and amend the zoning map and the zoning text. So the proposed text has been submitted to the village board, has been circulated to the planning board. The planning board has reviewed the proposal. They've come back with proposed changes to the zoning relative to parking and building height and location. The proposed zoning has certain distance requirements. Must be within 500 feet of a train station. It must be on a state highway, so that limits the locations where this particular zoning category would fall within the village. And essentially, the area that we've identified is, in fact, the area that would, where the zone would land. The density calls for a maximum density of 75 units to the acre. It's approximately 1.47 acres in size. By doing the math, that's 111 units. The dimensional restrictions, building height, 6 stories in height, 70 feet in height. That's consistent with other zones in the village. That's particularly your MR50. A minimum lot area of 40,000 square feet, minimum lot width of 100, and maximum development coverage of 100%. The uses allowed: high-rise multifamily dwellings, and a commercial component may be allowed on the first floor. With respect to the parking, the mayor had indicated that was a discussion item. What is being proposed is at 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit, and that may include a combination of on-site and off-site parking, but at the very minimum, we need to provide at least 1.1 spaces on-site, which we have indicated in a conceptual site plan, the balance of which could be provided off-site. And we've had discussions with the village that there is available parking at some of the parking lots that could be leased as part of this arrangement, and that would be worked out with the planning board. Now, it's important that one of the components, as we were reviewing this and preparing the zoning, the village's planning consultant said, it's nice that you're proposing zoning, but you actually need to lay something out just to make sure that it works. Again, the plan that it's over my shoulder here has been submitted to the village board, and this material is available on the village website. But it shows the conceptual layout that will accommodate the proposed zoning. And it shows building footprint, it shows parking, and it shows access. And it does, and now, please understand that if the board decides that the zoning would be put in place, there's still another application, a more formal site plan application, where we would have to come back before the planning board and submit a much more detailed site plan that would indicate driveway access, it would indicate materials. We would have to go through more extensive evaluation of circulation, but there would be another much more formal process when we get to site plan. So it's important that the village's planner asked us, all right, you have the zoning, take a look at it in more detail, make sure that you don't have to come up or request any variances with respect to the proposed zoning and its drafting of a particular plan. So, Mayor, what I've done is I've quickly reviewed the proposed application. I'd like to ask Josh Goldstein, as part of the applicant, to provide some background, and then I think we'll have Mr. Lang come up on behalf of the village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. As Mr. Smith said, my name is Joshua Goldstein. Tonight, I stand here before you not as somebody from out of state, not a New York City developer, but as a local. I graduated from Suffern High School, and I grew up in this village. Through the years, I have spent many of special occasions with my family in places like Marcello's, Ole Ole, and way too many nights with my old friends at Ireland's and Muggs, and ironically, Mountain Valley Brewery. But I managed to stay away from this man. To this day, I still remember standing on Lafayette Avenue with my dad when this village threw a parade when Walt Weiss became the Rookie of the Year for the Oakland A's. So with that all said, this project has a very, very special place in my heart. I will openly admit that if this was any place else, I do not think I would have considered it. So with that said, I want to reiterate what the mayor has said and what David has gone over, just so that there's absolutely no misunderstandings in this room and that everybody is informed and we get everything out on the table. One, I want to start out by saying that we are proposing a market rate rental project, okay? It's a market rate rental project. There is no low income here. This is not a Section 8 project. I haven't got the slightest idea where that came from. Second is the building height. I know David just went through it, but I just want to go over it again so everybody understands. We are proposing a 6-story building, which will be no higher than 70 feet tall. For reference, everybody, Park Place, which is the highest point in the village, okay, we will be 1 to 1.5 stories lower than Park Place. That's about 18 feet. So again, 18 feet to 1 to 1.5 stories lower than the tallest building in the village. Third thing is the parking. I know David just went over. I just want to go back over it again. A 1-to-1 parking ratio means that for every 1 unit, there's 1 spot. We meet that. We meet it by a little bit. I think it's 121. So it's 121. So there's room for guest parking. But again, we do meet the 1-to-1, okay? Everybody is a little bit concerned about the tenants parking on the streets. That is not allowed, okay? I'm going to put up a sign in the rental office that says the following: permitted spots in designated lots, okay? We have an agreement that we're working on with the village, permitted spots in designated lots. The tenants will pay to park their second car. This is their second car, not the first car. The first car will be on site. It's the second car that would be located in a designated lot. Now remember, it's the concept that we're selling here of the transit-oriented district, okay? I'm hoping to rent units to people who have no cars at all. They're going to use the mass transit to commute into the city, and then when they come home, they're going to walk, shop, and spend in your village. 4, Mr. Goldstein, why are you building 111 units? Why don't you build less? We will be a lot happier with less. 111 units is the absolute minimum to make this project feasible. All of the current properties that sit on Orange Avenue and Chestnut Street have been successfully put under contract with no condemnation, as the mayor has said. This was no easy task, and it wasn't cheap. Using the value of the properties and taking the cost and trying to have this project mimic the urban renewal is how we backed into the 111 units. Mr. Goldstein, could there have been more than 111 units in what you're proposing in height and the way that the building fits on the site? The answer is absolutely we could have, but we didn't want to. We wanted to have the ability to have a 1,400 square foot gym as an amenity for the tenants, an 800 square foot community room, which works very, very well in other projects that we've done in Rockland County, and a 2,500 square foot roof deck on the 6th story of this building. It will be awesome. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to pick up one important thing that Josh had started and had alluded to, is that each of these residents, when they come home at night, they have disposable income. And I think that's one of the important things that the village has always been considering, is that you now would have the potential for 111 households to be spending additional dollars within downtown. and that means that there's money for the hairdresser, nail salon, restaurants, all of that, those opportunities become available with the residents.
Which is, I'm sorry, one other thing, which is one of the reasons why we left the commercial component that was in the urban renewal out of this application. Why would we want to build new commercial space when there's already vacancies on Lafayette Avenue? This is strictly for residents to be living in the building and to spend and shop and eat on Lafayette Avenue.
Mayor, I think that concludes our portion of the
Okay.
presentation. If you're,
Yes.
if you're consultant.
I'd like to call up John Lang, so everybody understands that this presentation was by the applicant. Now we have Mr. Lang, who is the village's planning consultant. So he is reviewing the project on behalf of the village and will be addressing a number of concerns that were brought up by the planning board, by this village board in the workshop meeting, and I'm sure are also on the minds of a lot of you here. So thank you, John, for your hard work on this project.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. The first thing I'd like to address is the appropriateness of transit-oriented development. If we look back, before it was called a transit-oriented development, Suffern really was.
John, can you talk closer to the mic? You have to be here.
Okay, can you hear me?
It went out again.
I think it went out again.
Josh has got it. He's good at this now.
Can we hear it now?
Yes.
Okay. Suffern is a transit-oriented development, and the new techniques allow for a higher density and multiple uses within a certain distance from the train. It has to be a viable rapid rail stop to do that. We have put in commercial there. This applicant has chosen not to provide that, and I think his rationale is reasonable. There certainly is enough vacant space that we'd like to get some people supporting the activities that could fill up those vacant spaces. It is within 500 feet. A typical TOD can go as far as a quarter mile or even a half a mile. But we've isolated this down to a small area, a single area only, instead of taking a much broader look at it. It is on a state highway, and I'll get to some of the state DOT comments on the development. You're certainly within walking distance to the shop, and I can't think of a better way of trying to stimulate growth in the commercial sector than putting more people with spendable dollars in the shopping areas. And it's also within the original urban renewal area, so it meets the basic criteria. In terms of traffic, I need to differentiate. We're going to do a more complete environmental impact assessment when we have the final plans. Right now, we're doing it based upon the information that's readily available. The applicant will be doing a full traffic study that shows exactly where the ingress and egress will be, and that will be further down the way. There's nothing at this point, even in DOT's mind, that says that this cannot be accomplished, and that's why we're just doing it for the zoning review now, not for the site plan review. Are there traffic problems in the area? Yes. Can they be fixed? Yes. And our firm is making a proposal to the village to attack some of the problems that will result not from this, but for existing problems, to get traffic moving, but also to calm the traffic. And we'll be probably presenting that, I believe, in November to the village board. In terms of parking, most transit-oriented developments go from anywhere from 0.8 spaces to 1.2. Maximum, I've hardly ever seen 1.5. So for a transit-oriented development, this is certainly a suitable number of spaces. We're in a kind of a catch-22. If you say you're going to provide 1.5 spaces or 2 spaces per unit, people will have the second car. Guaranteed. You're predicting the outcome. If you limit it, you're challenging yourself to attract the people who don't have the extra vehicle. And I think the approach is, we'll give you the one. And I think it's the right approach. You'll have one on the facility, and you'll have another off-site that you're going to have to pay for. And I'm a firm believer in the capitalist society. If you're going to have to pay for it, then people will think twice about bringing another car. And in a true transit-oriented development, you won't have people using the second car. In terms of the density and height, I should point out that the layout that we received has no variances required. It meets everything within the zone. In terms of the density, I always have to throw this out. A dwelling unit is a dwelling unit. No planning and zoning terms in the towns that I represent, the villages I represent, differentiate between a 4,000 square foot dwelling unit and a 1,200 square foot dwelling unit. So when you look at the number, this is not 111 4,000 square foot units. This is 111 plus or minus 1,200 square foot units. So the size of the unit, you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at the densities. Yes, it's denser, but it's denser with smaller units, not larger units. In terms of the six-story building, less than 70 feet in Park Place, I know there would be concerns about how this building would be perceived. So I spent a better part of today trying to give you a visual, and I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. If you bear with me one moment. These list 12 spaces, 12 spots that I drove around town, sometimes taking my life in there. I was up on the thruway there with a camera, which is not a great place to be, but to show you exactly what you would see. And what I keep focusing on in the photographs is the Park Avenue place, 70 plus feet, and what you will see. That's this building here. So I first started coming down Lafayette Avenue. What do you see at Park Place, Park Avenue? The answer is nothing. You can't see it. The closer you get, the harder it is to see. The buildings provide a normal block. When I get right down to Lafayette, down by Chase, the tall buildings behind us, there's virtually no place that you can see the taller building. That building is going to be 18 to 20 foot taller than this building. This building is set 20 feet lower in elevation. So you're really kind of in a hollow. Will you see it in certain locations? Yes. But you'll see the theme if you're trying to pick out where you will see that building. Just blue chestnut. This was from across the way on Chestnut Street, all the way across by the train tracks. And as you're looking back, here's the building here. That's the height of the Sheraton. You see the little tip there? I didn't realize you'd actually see the Sheraton from there. And our building is going to be, or their building is going to be in here. Very difficult to see. From the parking area, down by Muggs, looking up.
Sorry. Mugs.
You can't see Park Avenue. The building will be in here and probably about that height. This is where you will start to see it. When you're coming from the north and when you're coming from the south. Now, what's not on there is I drove over to the Sheraton. I drove up on the parking deck. I got 3 stories up, and guess what you can see there? You can't even see Suffern. There's nothing in Suffern that you can see from there. So even from the west, you're not going to be able to see it. I don't want to simplify it, oversimplify it. Here, across underneath the overpass, I'm looking directly back. And what do you see? Now right now you've got a good cover of trees. When those lose their leaves, you will see Park Avenue behind there. It shows you the kind of natural cover that that area is going to have. If you go a little further and look across the train station, you can see off the roofs, you can pick out Park Avenue, the top floor. This building will be at least 20 feet below that level. So I'm just trying to give you a good feel for how it will look as reasonable as I can. This is from the parking lot out here. That's what you see at Park Avenue. Another section of that, that's what you you see, that little piece. It all is a function of the elevation and the height of the building. I went down my living quarters, thought I'd be able to catch a sight. You can't see Park Avenue. You can't see Park Avenue, and this building is going to be behind it. There's no way you're going to be able to see that. I did find on Maltby.
He's like standing between two buildings.
I know you probably can't see it there, but that's the building looking through the trees. It shows you how low it is when you get further away, depending on your elevation. This is a zoomed-in version from up on the thruway. Here's Park Avenue. You can clearly see it. The proposed building will be down here. It does not have a dramatic impact on the visibility. And when I zoomed in to show you what it would look like, zoomed in further with the camera, still is not a striking view. And when we do the final site analysis, we'll probably have loom studies. They'll show you exactly where that height will be, so you'll be able to pull that out here. But without having those, I wanted to give you a feel. Now, this is on Orange Avenue. The new hardware store, the motorcycle shop, and looking down. But I took a couple of photographs and I meshed them together so that you can see the height of this building and you can see where you're going to be for the new building. I think nothing shows it better than this, where you get the two in the same pictures. This is significantly lower, so even though you are at 60 feet, it's not going to appear anywhere near as tall as that building because of where that building is situated and where this building is situated.
How many units in the existing building?
The existing park has 120.
120?
120.
So from a planning perspective, it gives us the opportunity to try to make some efforts to bring more business downtown. We've tried to put as many qualifiers on this development so that we make sure it stays where it is. It doesn't creep. It's got to be by the railroad, got to be on the state highway, got to be within 500 feet of the train station. And I did want to read you what the New York State DOT said. Indicates that the comparative analysis performed for the two zoning options are reasonable and acceptable to the DOT. We also concur with the conclusion in the rezoning option will have a relatively less impact on existing levels of service. That means if that property were developed strictly as commercial, you would have a higher impact on new traffic. Doesn't mean that we're not going to have to make mitigation for traffic. We're going to do that. But you can't put that all on this development because everyone else who lives in Suffern is part of the traffic situation. But we do have reasonable plans we want to put in place to provide some fixes to the traffic, to get traffic moving, keep it moving, but keep it moving at a slower level. Less lights, less stop and go, and we'll have to see how the study turns out to determine that. But in summary, I think it's an appropriate development. I think if you look at the facts, you'll come to a similar conclusion that this is something that really will benefit the downtown. Thank you.
Okay, John, did you want to touch upon the county's letter? If you could do that, and then I believe Jack has a question. I don't know if it's for John.
Well, my question was that usually when we have these hearing on zoning changes, the county's letters read into the record. And I was just wondering if that was going to be done this evening.
We have it on the website, and we can make copies available. I mean, I don't want to read we can have it, we don't have to read it, but we can have it read into the record.
Because it was received before after the planning board had made its recommendation. It was only received last Thursday.
Correct.
If you want to reply to it.
Yeah, I mean, we can speak to the comments there and the recommendations, and it's been put on the website, and there are copies available if people want it. So
I probably believe the best way to summarize the county's comments were that they did not oppose the project. They did not give a negative response. They said they would like you to consider a number of factors, including, and I have not, actually I just saw the letter over dinner tonight, so I don't have it in front of me to read you the stipulations. If you, somebody have a copy?
Yeah, you can have a copy. It's okay, he has one, thank you.
We're good, Jim.
Should I read the whole letter?
I mean, sure, I guess.
Okay.
It's only,
2 pages.
yeah, it's,
Okay, the county has recommended the following modifications. It's reviewed several proposals for multifamily development on this site over the past 5 years. The Village Urban Renewal Plan recommended a new zoning district, the MR70, with a residential density of 70 units per acre, a building height of 7 stories, and a maximum development coverage of 0.7. In our August 2008 GML review, we raised concerns about the overall scale and density proposed. We did not believe that it was appropriate in a suburban village. The urban renewal plan was subsequently revised and a less dense MR60 zone was proposed. The maximum density was reduced to 60 units an acre and the building height was limited to 6 stories. The .70 development coverage was maintained. In our January 20th, 2009 GML review, this department continued to recommend that the residential be limited to 50 units an acre. The current zoning seeks to establish a new transit development district with a maximum residential density of 75 units per acre and 100% development coverage. There are no yard requirements. The building height has been reduced from 7 to 6 stories at the request of the Village Planning Board. This department is supportive of smart growth and transit-oriented development. We recognize that this is an ideal site for denser residential development given its proximity to the train station and the Lafayette Commercial Corridor. Convenient commuting options and a vibrant village center within walking distance will appeal to the target population of single and married professionals and downsizing baby boomers and empty nesters. An appropriately sized multifamily housing development has the potential to enhance the economic viability of Suffern's commercial district. A pedestrian-friendly development that can take advantage of existing infrastructure while augmenting the village's sense of place can meet the goals and objectives of smart growth and transit-oriented development if it respects the existing community character. We believe that the proposed residential density and the liberal bulk requirements are a departure from what currently exists in the village of Suffern as well as Rockland County. This site is a gateway to Suffern's business center for transit users exiting the train station and for drivers heading north on Orange Avenue. An opportunity exists to create a visual appealing site that will welcome visitors and residents. As currently conceived, it will not be possible to enhance the development with streetscape features such as benches, landscaping, planters, or artwork. Development coverage of 100% does not lend itself to any street-level amenities. The current proposal consists of the building, paving, parking areas, and sidewalks. By establishing more restrictive standards for density and development coverage, additional land area will be available for streetscape enhancements that will benefit the building residents as well as those who live, work, and shop in the village of Suffern. Except when in an urban renewal zone, the overall scale and density proposed in this zoning petition are not appropriate for a suburban village. The village must consider the cumulative impact of high-density zoning designation. The ability of the existing infrastructure to accommodate this increased residential density must be evaluated. Allowing 111 units on this site could overburden local roads as well as the sewer system, stormwater management system, and the public water supply. Its impact on the community character of the surrounding neighborhoods will also be examined. We recommend that a maximum development density and a lower development coverage be considered. This will allow for street-level amenities that will enhance the site and integrate it within the surrounding neighborhood. A review must be obtained by DOT. It's our understanding that parking standards now 1.5. The zoning petition must specify the off-site parking arrangements at site plan approval. The proposed multifamily residential building must comply with all the requirements of the Fire Prevention Code, and a review must be completed by the Office of Fire and Emergency Services. And that's basically it. A couple comments on that. A development coverage of 1.0 is very typical for transit-oriented development. It does not say that there's no room for street furniture, and that's one of the things that we had talked about, and I think they'll show you on their layout. In fact, just take that down, yeah. That there is substantial room for that. What you want in a downtown area is to have the buildings butted up against each other. That's why there are no side yards. You don't want breaks other than to let cars get into parking areas to the rear. You want it to be unified. That's part of the transit-oriented development. So in those terms, I don't really see a problem with the GML response. We talked about the density, and again, that's related to the size of the units and to the economics of it. So although it may sound like it's really harsh, I don't see this as being a real negative. It says we must consider, and we will consider those.
Do you want that back, Jack?
Mayor, the plan that was submitted with the October 3rd package to your board was also provided to the Rockland County Planning Department. It's included. What I've done is I've colored up the photo, the graphic here, to show that there is, and they may not have had or have read the plans the way they were shown, but clearly there is room for street amenities, for benches, for landscaping to be provided between the building and the sidewalk. We've indicated on the plan location for sidewalk. We've located the property line, and we've indicated where there is opportunity for those street amenities. So I think perhaps if they had taken a little bit closer look at the plans that we had provided, they'd understand that, in fact, while there is this 100% coverage, as Mr. Langen indicated, that's in the zoning, that was to provide maximum flexibility for design. And in fact, there may be some design technique that the planning board would like us to consider where the building would come out closer to the property line. But we would like to have the flexibility from a design standpoint to address that when we get to site plan. So I think that we have responded, and in fact, the application is responsive to the concerns that were raised by Rockland County.
So the project as it's currently constituted is going to require a supermajority vote, then?
You should talk to that.
Right, that question came up. If you'll see, it does come at the end. A majority plus one is required to act contrary to the findings. If you read number 1, it basically says the village must consider the impact evaluated as maximum residential density and lower development coverage standard be considered. So, provided you do those things, you're not acting contrary to what they're recommending. So the answer is to approve this project, you don't need to override number 1. If you, what it says in number 1, which is evaluate those things.
Okay. And I guess, John, it may be appropriate for you to kind of discuss generally what the general purview is. I think it's important of the county planning versus, what the village planning board. I mean, because again, I think that there's a concern of the community here that even if it's determined that this is appropriate for this particular project only, that a zone be extended somewhere else. So if you're creating a zone, then someone comes later. But I think it's important that in what was discussed before the planning board and what's discussed here, that this zone would apply uniquely to this parcel, which is subject to the urban renewal zone. So,
precisely.
And how kind of that, even though, because we had discussed why create a zone if it's only used once, and the issue is because, that's the way it works. So if you could just procedure-wise explain why we're creating a zone if it's going to apply generally.
This was a subset of the original urban renewal area, and it was deliberately done as a subset so that we could limit the extent. This is basically a one-and-done project, and I think that the county is not anticipating that or not understanding that. They tend to look at the existing plans and development patterns and want everything to stay the same. And it's very difficult to try to fix problems without making some changes. So I think there's a conservatism in that. They do state here that transit-oriented developments are something that they support, and yet here we have one, and they're kind of quibbling with the water and sewer, which is not an issue. There's an adequate water supply, and there is an adequate sewer supply. In fact, Suffern doesn't even come up to using 50% of the water that it has in its supply. So those really shouldn't be issues. Traffic we will deal with. Traffic is always an issue, and I feel confident, and I've spoken to Mr. Michael Galante, who is our chief traffic person, that we can come up with solutions, not just for this project, but for the village as a whole. things that will help build an identity for downtown as well as smooth the flow of traffic. So, again, you can read this, and if you're really looking to nitpick, you could say, well, there's some negative things there. Well, yeah, it's negative, but in a context. The context I see it, I don't see it as being that negative. It just wants us to consider some of the things that they have recommended.
Okay, thank you. I think, is the board okay if at this point, thank you, John, we open it up to public comment? We do 3 minutes. I see someone's hand up, but again, the name is on the list if there's anybody else. So I'll just call everybody. Can someone get me the list up there? Okay, so if everyone, we're going to reserve the comments to 3 minutes, and if you'd like to speak, just please write your name down on the list.
Wait, Virginia, some people didn't sign up yet.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call up first Joel Magrino.
Jack, just let it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 sec, Joe, I'm going
Some people may still want to sign up.
Yeah.
Okay, they can still sign up, there's no problem. Anyone who wants to sign,
Just let Jack know that we have his name. Jack, we
Yes,
have
we have your name,
No,
Ms.
Jack,
Berg.
don't get up. No, Jack, don't get up. I just want to let you know your name is on the list. So we'll call you when your name comes up, okay?
okay, so again, if
Wait,
anybody
Virginia-
wants to have a list, you
Virginia,
can
one
sign
more.
up.
He wants to sign up.
Sure.
There's more.
Oh, there is,
papers
okay.
there. There's plenty of papers to sign.
Okay.
Ask them to please put their address down.
Okay, well, can say when they get up there, sure.
Okay.
Who's that, Jim Sorrentino?
Yeah.
D'Ambrosio and Gene Hanley. Okay, sir, go ahead, sure.
Yes, Joe Maraglino, I live at 65 Wayne Avenue here in the Village. It's basically, I have no comment about what these gentlemen promoted, but it seems like sometimes in the Village of Suffern, we're throwing a campaign promise about things that are going to get built, and all of a sudden they seem to stall. I bring in, case in point, 15 Washington Avenue. I brought it to the board's attention again last month. It's a burnt-down shell of a building. They were supposed to build 50 condominiums over there. Nothing has occurred. The building's still standing. Nobody wants to tear down the building. It's affecting our housing values, in my opinion. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. We're here all the time. I'm speaking for a lot of people to see this that's just burnt out and nobody's tearing it down. I don't understand what the problem is. It's affecting the quality of life where we live. As far as their proposal goes, I wanted to know, as far as road improvements go, Orange Avenue is a very busy road, and Lafayette. Are they going to mill out the road, make it wider? I know there's an awful lot of traffic on Orange Avenue. I know they were discussing about making the, easier street lights and whatever, try to get traffic to move, but are they talking about, like I asked, are they talking about widening the road? Are they talking about, just milling it out, just repaving it? Sometimes there's an accident, and I personally see it, how they deviate traffic onto Wayne Avenue itself, and it's bumper-to-bumper traffic from my house down towards Muggs Pub down there. Sometimes it's just like, you can't even get back to your own house. So other than that, that's all my gripe is about, and I just wish things would improve as far as what was supposed to be happening, getting done. I feel like I took a time machine 6 months back because I've seen this gentleman over here, Mr. Lang, he was promoting the condominium concept over there at 15 Washington Avenue, and again, nothing's happening.
Thank you, Joe. I can tell you that the applicant has, had approval at Washington Avenue, and I spoke to the building department, and they're finalizing a demo permit so that they can demolish the building. It should be, we said at the last meeting that we'll get it done, so we're working with the building department to get it done. But that your comments are appropriate, and the project will move forward, and the building will be removed. Thank you. Okay, next I have John Dizia. I believe I saw John and Johnny, if you want to come up.
I think they're up.
Hello, I'm John Dizia. I'm the guy that is building the new Ace Hardware store. excuse my appearance, we just we finished working tonight, building the store. My son, young people, they're smarter, quicker, He said, Dad, let's go see what's going on with this new building. And I said, he says, I'm dying over here, I'm dead, working all day. But I'm glad that we came, because after hearing, all the gentlemen speak, it makes a lot of sense. To have a building next to a train station with one parking space, encouraging people not to have cars, I think it's going to be good to stimulate the business. That's why we're here. We like this town. We want to build a first-class retail store to serve the community. And I think that between us and a new building, I think it's all going to catch on, and all the other little stores that are empty, I think people are just going to become interested, in coming to this town, and I think that the downtown could flourish, just as it was before.
Thank you. I'd like to say that the Dizia family is hard at work, and we welcome them to the village. And Kathy, on October, what's the date? 24th, we're doing a job fair. There's applications available if anybody wants a job. I believe they said they're hiring close to 20 part and full-time people. So you can pick up the applications at Village Hall, drop them back over, and sign up for a time to come in, and they'll be interviewing people. So we're very excited for that store to open up for the holiday shopping season. Okay, next on the list we have my friend and yours, Marcello. Marcello.
Good evening. Well, for 27 years I've been in downtown, so basically, even if I look young, okay? And for so many years they've been telling me that it's going to be happening, but really nothing happened, 12 years ago I building the new extension, and with the chief police, he mentioned to me before he was not even the chief police, he says, you'd have to stay. I was going to Hokus, the other restaurant. And he says, no, stay. And with Glinsky, they were telling me all the things they were doing. And in the last 8 or 9 years, I've been talking to David Chen, are you going to take care of this place? Are they going to build it? Well, never happened. So this thing, I hope it happen. I think Josh, they will do a good job. And I think people in downtown, they were renting the other stores that are empty, and then everybody will flourish. We have about 9 restaurants in less than 1 mile. I think everybody will be, doing a good job. And then also the Lafayette Theater also needs help. So with 200 new people in town, plus the other 50 apartments, it will only make the town better. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcello. And once again, it wouldn't be proper without having Marcello here and plugging that he will be having his 3rd annual Valentine's Day concert Sunday. What is it? What's the date and time? Sorry, February what? February 9th. February 9th, what time? 2:30. Love songs. Not sung by Marcello. Okay. Next up, Adam DiStefano. Yeah, I'm just going to go. Everyone will get it.
Adam DiStefano, 19 Prairie Avenue. The 2 things that I'm concerned about with the project is, one, with the parking issue. Since we're trying to build transit-oriented development, that's implying that we want to then bring in more people to commute to our village and use our train station. By allowing then us to give away our parking spaces to the developer at a cost, we're now going to lose out on those extra commuters that can come in. The other issue that I have is, if this project is meant for people who have large amounts of, who have disposable income to go to the downtown area, then why can't we have it as condos? If you have the disposable income, you can afford to get a condominium, and you can also then take ownership and pride in what you own and shop in the downtown area, and you're not going to be a 1 or 2 year resident, you're going to be a lifelong resident of the village of Suffern. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just moving right along, sorry. Who's that, Stratos? What's his name? Ann Stratos?
Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Stratos. I live at 46 Prairie. I also own 2 Annies on Lafayette Avenue. I worked at Lou Superior Auto Service at 120 Orange Avenue for 14 years. The traffic is horrendous. It goes past the A&P. I stood in that parking lot and watched it. That's number one. I hope you come up with a good plan. I like this idea. I think it's fabulous. The other thing is, I've had people come in my store. They want to move to this town. There are no supermarkets. I've had 2 women walk in. Their kids bought houses here. They want grandma to live here and babysit. Where's the supermarket? I got to tell them they got to walk to the A&P. You don't want traffic, you want people to walk around. Build something where they can buy a dozen eggs and a loaf of bread. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Sam Janarone.
He's coming, putting his coat on.
You wore a jacket, look at that. Look at him, he's making an entrance. I'll do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Janarone.
Oh, come
I'd like to thank the board for moving forward on the blight on Route 202, State Route 202, aka Orange Avenue. It's a necessary thing, as Josh Goldstein said. Where is he? Right there. You know, I had 1 or 2 in the Varanpo Valley Brew Pub also. And it'd be nice to have a bar back there. I've given to understand that there is going to be an allowance of 5,000 square feet of retail on the bottom floor. However, that is not going to be, there will be no retail. No retail. All right, I have a couple of questions.
Sam, can you just ask the questions at the mic and then they'll answer them after?
I have a couple of questions. I'm not sure who I should direct them to. We're talking about 70 feet. Where is that measured from on the site? I can talk louder. I don't need that. Where is 70 feet measured?
Sam, I think the best way to do it, if you want to ask the question, just ask them all, and then they'll answer them all after you're done.
I don't want to do it that way, Dagan, if it's all right with you. I'd like to have an answer.
Okay. If you want to answer, no problem. I mean, look.
The height is measured from grade, and it's consistent with the village zoning code.
I understand that. There's a large perimeter of this property with quite a varying grade. There's a grade from Chestnut Street, rises up, back down to the little park at the corner. I would like to know where the 70-foot number is coming from, where it's measured on this site right here. What are we looking at?
Okay, sir. Sam.
Here, over here.
Okay, I'm not, if you want to just say.
Corner of Wallbelt Way.
Okay, thank you.
At the bottom, at the north end. Your average. An average.
If I could say something, over here. I spoke with, this came up at the workshop last week. So I asked Mr. Conley, the building inspector, to provide his analysis on that, because he's the one who'll look at the plans and determine where that 70 feet is. What he said is you take an average of the elevation. So he gave a memo there's a 299-foot elevation, I guess, at Orange Avenue. 294.5, I guess, at the lowest point off of Chestnut.
Okay.
Difference of 4.5 feet.
Along Orange Avenue.
Well, just right, a difference of 4.5 feet between the two.
Okay.
So he would take the average and
Is that, excuse me, can I interrupt you? Is that only along Orange Avenue, or is that the entire site?
No, the 299, I believe, is along Orange Avenue, and the 294, well, I'm sorry, it does say from the Orange Avenue side, front of the building to the rear of the building, which I assume he means Chestnut when he says the rear of the building.
Is this available on the village website, this information?
He just wrote this afternoon, it is part of the public record, so I could give you a
We'll
copy.
put that on the website.
Well, if we have a vote tonight, putting it on the website tomorrow morning is a little late.
It's a general question as of a clarification that elevation
I
is
understand,
measured from the
Dagan.
average
Excuse me,
height.
I'm running out of my 3 minutes.
Sure, go ahead.
I have a picture here of a transit-oriented development proposed at the old Ford dealership in Ridgewood, right next to the train station. It's 4 stories, 116 units. The building is not packed tightly, as Mr. Lang said we need to do in Suffern. There's a breezeway in between the building to break it up.
You have 1 minute.
Would you like to take a look at this?
It's okay, you can just, yeah, you can hand it up.
Joe's seen it already.
Yep, I have. If you wanna-
Ridgewood, I'll continue.
30 seconds.
Sounds good, thank you. Ridgewood is discussing 40 feet to 45 feet. We're looking at 70 feet. This is going to be precipitate the beginning of the urbanization of a small village, our village, that may not stop here. Park Place was a mistake, Squires Gate was a mistake. This project may go down as a mistake of the same magnitude. Thank you.
Thank you. John Paul Malfetta.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to let you know I do residential and commercial real estate in the county, but about 90% of my business is focused in Suffern. I live here. My family's had businesses here for 25 years, and I take great pride in this downtown. But one of the things that I come across constantly is the condition that we are in the people that are walking our streets, and the condition of our vacant spaces. And there's no way that we're going to be able to remedy that unless we do something massive to change that, unless we put a different type of demographic on top of our downtown. I know that some of you are apprehensive about the size or scope of the project, but tonight we're voting on changing a zone as to whether or not we should be redeveloping that site. And anyone who approaches from Franklin Turnpike coming down Orange Avenue will tell you that that is our biggest problem, from the people that are outside, from the appearance of the buildings, and I think absolutely that we need to do this change. To speak to the gentleman who mentioned about why not do condos as opposed to rentals, it's a great question, but in real estate, we've all been following the trend. Our values have lost a lot over the last 7 years, and to do this acquisition is not cheap, and to make this project profitable as a condo project is just not doable. For people who have had land, like the guys on Conserve at that project that's supposed to happen on Washington Avenue and 202, that's land that's been acquired for a while now. So for them to do a condo project, it's profitable. Here, not so much. The benefit, though, about having a rental complex and a luxury rental complex here is that you do attract a different demographic. If you're going to live here for 20 years, great, but when that happens, you do get a little bored with restaurants. You tend to jump different towns and try things. By putting renters here, where you're going to see maybe a 2 or 3 year turnover, they're not going to get bored of these restaurants. They're going to enjoy the lifestyle, and then maybe they're going to come to our communities and buy, and you're going to inspire them to buy here by bringing them in to a building with amenities. A lot of the younger people are trading ownership for lifestyle. You see a lot of these luxury buildings being built. They did it successfully in Edgewater, where they built these luxury rental communities, and now the retail industry is booming there. They succeeded in Inglewood, they succeeded in Park Ridge, and it will succeed here. We're not voting on the scope of the project, just about whether or not it should be developed tonight. So I hope you vote yes.
Thank you. Okay, Jim Giannantino.
I don't think anybody else came up to sign in.
Jim Giannantino, 2 Memorial Drive, Suffern. As many of you know, this was my mission 8 years ago, this project. The project was going to be 4 floors and 80 units with all on-site parking. Now, this is a nice proposal. I think if they had 3 acres of land, I'd vote yes. But now we're down to less than 1.5 acres. Off-site parking, I can't see anybody walking down the steps, Chestnut Street, through the tunnel, which floods, and I know they're saying they're going to raise the sidewalk. You can't raise it a heck of a lot. It's only 9 feet 6 inches from the ground to the top of the bridge. So I don't think you can raise it high enough. You're still going to need a boat. Furthermore, downsize it to the 80 units, 4 or 5 floors, and I think everybody in this room would go for it.
Okay, Mr. Rosenberg.
No. 3 minutes. The 3 minutes are up.
Why isn't anybody helping him?
Jack Rosenberg, 13 Somerset Drive. I moved in 1989, so it's 20-odd years, and I'm very happy here. I ate in Danina's the other day. I eat in Marcello's. I eat in lots of places. I shop all around. I love living in Suffern, and I want to point out some things to you. Number one, the mayor said that if the zone change does not go through here tonight, that the previous owner, the current owners, will have to take it back. That means that there is no deed on file for anybody to own the 6 lots. If you buy a piece of property and you have it deeded to you and something goes wrong, you can't go back to the seller and say, give me back my money. So it's obviously not going to be a situation where it's already bought. It's not bought. It's subject to change. Now, if you look carefully at Suffern and Rockland County, what do you see? You see homes everywhere. There's very few apartment dwellings. And the reason why you don't is because owners take care of their property and tenants do not. When I moved into Rockland County 40-odd years ago, this county was in the top 10 counties in the country. In the country for clean air. for greenery, for water, all of these things. As of now, it's still in the top 20. We have a high style of living in this county because it's terrific the way it is. And if you think about this particular lot, why don't you take a look and see about the lot itself? It was supposed to be, the builder wanted to have it as one space, one car space for each unit of housing, 111. That's what was advertised, 111 and 111 parking. But the planning board said, oh no, we want 1.5. That's 167. Now today I learned from a gentleman who is very, very knowledgeable, and probably more knowledgeable than any person in this room here, as to what is required for parking. If you have 100 units of housing, you need 28,000 square feet just for the parking. Well, the total amount of square footage on this property is just about, it's an acre and a half. That's, what is it, 60,000 square feet. If you put 28,000 square feet on for parking, where are you going to put the tenants? 111 units. Where are you going to put them?
Thank you, Mr. Rosenberg. Thank you.
There is too many things wrong.
Thank you.
There are too many things wrong with this thing, which is being rushed through. There's been no adequate notice to the country about this thing coming up. And if you rush through on this thing and approve it, you're making a big, big mistake.
Thank you. I think it's important to state that in terms of the way, yes, the applicant does not currently own the properties. They have them under contract and are asking to get the approval, and then if they get zone change, they will move forward. But obviously, one cannot expect... Okay, Mr. Rosenberg, please respect the rules.
I was told it was owned, deeded.
Okay, just again, I just asked that everybody respect the rules. I want to clarify something, that they have a contract with each of the owners. The way they've done it is they've taken their closing subject to getting the approved zoning, because an applicant would not be expected to purchase property which was sold at a premium because the village is anticipating a zone change, and if they don't get the zone change, then they own commercial property that they overpaid for. So the way they went about doing it in terms of getting themselves to this point was to enter into an agreement with each of the landowners without the use of eminent domain.
So they don't own anything.
Okay, again, all I'm asking here is, look, a lot of people put a lot of time and work into this. All I'm asking people to do is just please respect the rules. Just, Mr. Genser, don't shout out, don't shout out. That's all I'm asking. Please, please. Just regular respect of decorum, you'll have your opportunity. Okay? They currently have all the properties under contract, but they do not own it. And the way they are proceeding, which is, I believe, is a prudent way to do it, as sure do they, is to look to get the zoning, and then if they get the zoning, they'll close on the property. One is not going to buy property and spend twice as much of its value based on zoning that you don't have. I think it's a prudent way to do it, and that's why we're able to be here. Okay? So again, the next person on board, Ori LaCorte.
I'd like to welcome Jeff, and as being a Suffern High graduate, and hopefully my son after college comes to work with me. I think that's a wonderful thing. I've been in this community since 1957, so I saw that Park Avenue project go up when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and I remember Dr. Petrone. But I'd just like to give a little different spin on the fact that people don't take care of their property. Jack, you live in Bon Air, one of the most beautiful places forever. I owned a condo there in 1979. My grandparents were one of the first ones. Is Jeff your father? I was one of the first ones to have my grandparents go into the project off of Cherry Lane, whatever you call the Mountain View now, okay? It was cramped, it was like a shoebox, but they lived there, they survived, they were close to their family. You built the round post circ, you've built the knolls, okay? Who cares if it's 4 floors or 70 feet or what? Let the man do his job, okay? Let the planning board do their job, okay? I've been involved in insurance for 35 years, the hospital board for 30 years, on the chamber. I don't speak for the chamber, I speak for myself, and we need foot traffic. And so it's a little cramped, so there's no trees. Who really cares? It makes no difference. It really makes no difference, okay? To me, it makes no difference. If I want to move to Florida and I want to have a house here, or I want to move down the shore and I want to rent, those are the kind of people that we're trying to attract. People from Suffern that are going to stay here and going to help us develop. So I don't see the small detail, but let the man do his job. That's what I think we really need to do here. Thank you very much.
Okay, Stephen Alpert.
Stephen Alpert, 17 Meadowbrook Lane here in Suffern. I want to touch on a couple things that have probably already been touched on a little bit, but I just want to sort of put it together in a unified thing. On the one hand, the developer wants to build a bunch of units, rather 111 units that are for people using the transportation. That's fine as it stands as an idea, but being that there's no real supermarket or anything like that in walking distance, these people will need to use their cars. And that's going to bring a lot of traffic to an overstressed area right there on Orange Avenue. Now the big problem there, it's very narrow, it's 1 lane in each direction, and there's really no place to go to widen it. And without widening it to like 2 or even 3 lanes in each direction, it's just going to be impossible. And that's really the bottom line, is that area cannot survive additional vehicles. There's already too many. They back up all the way, as someone said, to the A&P, and they do, all the way from A&P to that intersection with Wayne Avenue. It's out of control. Thank you.
Thank you. Where am I? Okay, Erica Dyer.
Am I on your list?
Yes, I'll call you next, Mr. Carpenter. I'm going over like 3 lists, sorry.
I'm Erica Dyer, Dyer Landscaping, and I like my trees.
What's your address?
My name is Erica Dyer from Dyer Landscaping, and I like trees. So I think we need to have our trees in the area. I live on 14 Riverside Drive in Suffern, and as far as traffic is concerned, Riverside is actually a cut-through between New Jersey and New York. So there's a lot of speeding and traffic going through there at the time now. Now, when this project gets started on Orange Ave, how long will the project take? Now, with the construction going on this project, it's going to back up Orange Avenue more than it's already backed up. What are you going to do to ensure that people are going to be able to go through? Now, also, how long will it take to get these units filled? How long did it take the units to get filled over behind the community center? And that's a major concern. Also, have you done projects or have you done research bringing baby boomers who have their children have gone on, who are going to live in this area? I don't foresee a lot of baby boomers or older people coming to live there, A, because they're not going to have a vehicle to go around. A lot of them aren't going to be able to just have no car, because this is still considered the country. So those are my main concerns.
Thank you. Okay, Sylvia Irizaruli, is that right? Sorry.
Irizarry. I'm Sylvia Irizarry.
I've been in the town of Suffern for 20 years, and my concern is whether this is really going to benefit the community or just big business. I did a little bit of research today, and I want to read something within these 3 minutes really quickly, and I found an article which is entitled, "Como Accepts Millions of Dollars from Obscure Business Entities." This is Como. "We need to restore public trust in government. When you go through this state, from Montauk to Buffalo, you hear over and over again the betrayal people feel towards government," said Como. "New Yorkers agree Albany is a mess. It's overrun by lobbyists and special interests, but Andrew Cuomo has a tough 20-point plan to clean up Albany, including restricting lobbyists contributions and ending pay-to-play, where powerful corporations buy access. But the ads and speeches describe something aspirational. I have to tell you a little story here that I found, the tale of Suffern's 4 Executive Boulevard. 4 Executive Boulevard in Suffern comes up 14 times on Cuomo's latest campaign finance disclosure filings. Outside of 4 Executive Boulevard, the official flags and a large New York State, New York Thruway sign suggest a governmental building. According to tax records, the 4-story office building is owned by Executive Associates North 2 LLC. Executive Associates has a 10-year lease for $3.7 million with the Thruway Authority. The tax bill goes to Suite 200, which is an office occupied by Lindmark Group, a real estate company started by Sheldon Goldstein in the 1950s. Goldstein, his family, and their companies have been generous donors to former Governor Mario Cuomo and Attorney General Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo's campaigns for decades. In the 1980s, Goldstein was appointed by Governor Mario Cuomo to chair the State University Construction Fund. On the first floor, Suite 100's plate glass door carries 7 corporate names, including some on Andrew Cuomo's donors list. Orange Avenue Associates LLC, this company is a related entity to all these other Goldstein entities. So my question again is, will they benefit the community, or is this just going to benefit big government or big business? But of course, you know, government and business kind of always go hand in hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sylvia, mic working. Hello, Sylvia. Sylvia, could you just give us your address, honey? We didn't get it.
15 Riverside Drive.
Thank you.
Want me to get you? I am one of those employees that has not worked in 3 weeks, so I may not be able to pay my mortgage, nor my, local.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you livening up the discussion. Mr. Karp, Richard
Just
Karp.
protect my sign. Going out with a bang here.
Hi, Rich Karp, Lonigan Drive, or the Swamp as we call it. One concern is traffic. South Street, stop sign, which nobody stops at. The police chief has tried, but they cannot put an officer there 24 hours a day. That will back up like crazy. Any problem on the thruway, they get off north or south, and they ride on Orange Avenue. Second place, Washington Avenue, where it comes in there. You make a left turn onto Orange Avenue. That is so backed up also. With these hundreds of cars that are going to be here, what are you going to do with them? Second thing, do you have the proper utilities in place now to handle everything? I'm talking about water, I'm talking about gas, I'm talking about electric, storm drains. Well, those storm drains, all these extra things coming on, how will they affect the Mawa River, which floods my development? That's a very big concern of mine. Anytime you guys put something, remember, the last Suffern board, as far as I'm concerned, has a bad record. Just come and see where I live. Everybody said don't do it, but what happened? They did it. They had so many people, from what I understand, say don't do it, it floods. But the board evidently did not care, and they voted it. The engineers said don't do it. The board voted it. And now look at us. We're still waiting for the houses to come down for the 4 displaced families. Thank you.
I think it's important to note that this property in the middle of the downtown is already, it's a property that's already paved over, that has impervious surfaces. So it's a redevelopment of an existing developed site. You're on the list, sir. I'll call you up next. Mr. D'Ambrosio.
I don't think you have the right to retort each time when you have somebody says something.
It's just a question.
I know you.
Okay, Mr. D'Ambrosio, you want to come up and make your comment? Go ahead. Sure. I'm just trying to give information. That's all we're doing here. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
You're actually defending the board. You have no right to do that. You ask people to speak, that should be the end of it.
Sure.
That's what they're there
Go
for.
ahead.
My name's Alfred D'Ambrosio. I'm at 4 Cross Street, Suffern, New York. I like our mayor, and I like all the people here too, but it's time to be critical. Now, we discussed initially, everyone here who was on the pro and con side. Can you hear me anyway? No. I don't want to yell, I agree.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Thank you.
We need a new microphone.
How we doing? Good. Okay, I'm here, and my name's Al D'Ambrosio. Time should be beginning now. I'm at 4 Cross Street, Suffern, New York. As I said, I like all the gentlemen, ladies who are here. I respect them all. They should respect me too. And as a consequence, we're discussing something that's critical to our development, our concerns. I understood the people who are offering this structure, their point. It could benefit us. I don't like the size of it, but again, I've had this kind of a situation before at 3 Cross Street. And of course, we have it, whether we like it or not. Now, mind you, the advantage that we have at Cross Street, 3 Cross Street, is that it's condos. Those things are all filled up. The people are going to stay there till they die, or their kids will get it. Dealing with rental, that's a question mark. I could see a lot of people who can afford it, good people and bad, taking advantage of a scenario like that because they can come and go quick and sweet. And money is much better now for those kind of people. I'm saying good and bad, both. But and the young jet sets. And they don't have the same values a lot of us old-timers have, who own our homes. Oh, did I say that word? Own our homes. But now let's deal with the other side of the coin. Traffic. Yes, traffic is hell, and it's only going to get worse. You can have a lot of promises, but forgive my French, I'll just say that's a lot of SB, say it backwards, you know the answer. Now let's put it another way. If they try to correct some of the things they've said, such as water, we don't have a lot of water. We constantly hear about waters going down, and people want to buy our water, and they're being told, no way in hell. Why? That's one of the last things we have that's of value. You don't want to give it up. I don't want another scheme like a baseball field, and then we suddenly find out, oh, who's paying for it? Us. And then if this thing fails, who's paying for it? It's going to be us. Of course, I hope that doesn't happen, but I hope it doesn't happen at all. Only because I like people to own their own homes. So I hope if they can resolve the traffic, if they can lower it a little, all right, we'll see. But a lot of problems have to be resolved. And the point that it came out and it had to be stretched out, that this is not owned property from the word go, that's scary. I don't like that kind of a presentation where you have to pull it out to get the answers. Thank you.
Andy Yarashak. Yarashak?
Andy Yarashak, and I live at 35 Park Place. I've been there since they became a condominium. Now, I've watched traffic in this town, and I'm for those people who are talking about traffic. Now, to get out of Park Place on any day, as a matter of fact, you should have had this meeting on a Friday, and you would have seen the traffic on the main street and trying to get in and out of Park Place, and even the other street that comes from the parking lot here around. You just can't do it. And one other thing, and I'm not going to blame the parking department, but at the corner of Park Avenue and Lafayette Avenue, that's a main intersection. And on Friday, you can't get out of there. Besides, there's a car parked on the east side and the west side, almost onto Park Place. And one of these days, there's going to be a big accident there. There's not enough room to see either toward the left or to the right. And I think you got a big traffic problem here. No one has really addressed it. I didn't hear them address it. I don't know if there was a plan or a survey made and presented. I haven't heard of one, but if there isn't, there should be. And that is my big concern. For years, it was nice going out of my street onto Lafayette Avenue or everywhere. Didn't have a problem. Friday night here is like Times Square.
Mr. Lang, John, do you want to just talk about, again, I don't know if the gentleman missed what the plan is moving forward about generally traffic with respect to this project, and also generally what the village's approach is. I want to make sure that everybody's clear on that issue.
There's 2 points to be made. One is that we haven't done the full site development plan evaluation. That will come when, after the zone is done, when they come in for the site plan approval. We know what the existing traffic issues are. They need to be addressed, and we're going to be creating a plan to try to address those. And again, it's not just for this project, it's for the Friday nights and the other backups. I can say it took me an hour to get from my office to here Friday afternoon, and it took me 2 hours to get home because of the same traffic. So I'm well aware of what the issues are. They need to be addressed. You can't solve all the problems of a backup that actually on Friday night was an accident north of Newburgh that backed all the throughway all the way down to here. You're never going to be able to solve that with a local traffic solution here, but we are aware of it and we will be addressing those.
Okay, Gene Hennelly.
Jean Hennelly, 135 Wayne Avenue. I'd like to know if a state environmental quality review act was done on this.
John, you can go ahead and...
Excuse me?
Yeah, you want to answer questions? Well, anything on planning, he can answer.
The first evaluation we have to do is on the zone change. That's what I said, there's a 2-step process. We will do a full environmental evaluation on the zone change. Then later, if that goes through, we will do a full environmental evaluation. We're segmenting into 2 separate reviews to make it much easier for people to understand. It's very difficult not to have a full site plan to be able to do a full traffic study. So that's why we separated them. There are issues that will be much better addressed now, and other issues will be much better addressed later. But there will be 2 separate reviews.
And if I may, also, the board declared itself to be lead agency, which means this plan was distributed to various other agencies, such as county planning, state DOT, et cetera, and they have provided their comments. So that is part of the secret review.
Okay, and what was the determination?
Well, you heard the county planning.
Yes. There was, what was the part, what was the... It's in 2 parts, but what's the first part? Isn't there was the determination?
We have not made our environmental findings yet. That's what these...
It seems like you're putting the cart before the horse. You should do this, all this before you do the zone change. I don't understand that. Another question I have is, I would like to know approximately what percentage of the units will be single bedroom and as opposed to 2-bedroom. I want to know what is going to keep people from other school districts to come into town to try to get into our wonderful school system, which is, we need to keep our classroom ratios down, I think, and I'm concerned that it'll be overcrowded in the schools. But also, I would like to ask, the traffic issue everybody's talked about. And the only other question that probably hasn't been asked is if any of the board members has received any political contributions from the applicant. I would like them to specify before they make a vote. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, the mayor's asked me just to clarify. Again, the secret review, this board is what's called the lead agency. The board is going to make determination of environmental considerations. They've declared themselves a lead agency. They've distributed, as I said, the plan to the other agencies for comment. We have comment from county planning. We have comment from state DOT. Even
And the village planning board, yeah.
The village planning board, certainly, the building department. So that is part of the secret review. And certainly Mr. Lang, at the appropriate time, as he has so far, will be adding his comments as well. So that is all part of the secret review, and this is part of the secret review. Everyone's comments here, and the board's comments as well.
Okay, thank you. Jeff Genser. Josh, do you want to answer the question about the breakdown of the units to the best you can between one-bedroom school kids?
Political contributions.
Oh, when they vote? I mean, we haven't voted yet, but if you want, I mean, all my political contributions are disclosed, and there are no political contributions. So I don't know if anyone else wants to answer that.
I don't take any contributions except from myself.
I also have no contributions.
I have none.
Never had any contributions from any development.
Okay, so I just thought that she wanted that at the vote. I apologize if that wasn't the misunderstanding. I don't know if the other question was with the breakdown of the units between one bedroom and two bedroom. 50-50. And in terms of the school, there was an initial report done with respect to this plan pursuant to the urban renewal zone, and based on the fact that there's 1 and 2 bedrooms, and the school district looked at this critically across other similar units, and again, it's very analogous to Bon Air, and the amount of children that come from these types of these units is very minimal, typically like less than 5%. And that's something, again, which the school district did a review as part of the urban renewal plan, based on the fact that most people, when they get 1 and 2 bedrooms, they have 1 kid and then they buy a home and tend to have more than 1 kid. So just like in Bon Air, which has 1,100 units, I think that there's less than 50 school children that come from all of that. So, that's, that's the general approach. From the 1 and 2 bedroom units that are, we're not talking about larger townhouse units. These are 1 and 2 bedroom units.
And that came from the school district.
The school district, yes. It's part of the urban renewal plan, which is online. Mr. Genser.
Jeff Genser, 32 First Street, Suffern, New York. I have a few observations and comments on the original presentation. Mr. Goldstein is a graduate of Suffern High School. I don't think it has anything to do with what's happening here tonight. The Goldstein Group is a huge company. I've had the opportunity to drive around northern New Jersey, Rockland County. They own properties from here to
Jeff, I don't want to interrupt. It's a different company. They're not the Goldstein Group.
They're not?
No.
I take that back. I'm sorry. Let me start over. Mr. Goldstein seemed kind of defensive and a little argumentative in his original comments before anybody said a word here tonight, and I'm just curious as to why he felt that way. Secondly, I look at this picture of a block, and I see this white section, which is not part of the project, and if it was, it would add a whole lot more room and possibilities to the design of this project. I'm not in favor of
Can I see that, Jeff? Can I see that, the white? No, the white, okay. May I clarify that? I don't want to... Essentially what happened is when we approached the urban renewal zone, the ability in the urban renewal zone gave us the ability to use eminent domain on the commercial properties within the urban renewal zone. Ultimately, as we said here, they didn't use eminent domain because we wanted to have a project where the landowners willingly entered into agreement with the proposed developer. There was one parcel which we did not pass the right of urban renewal, and that was the property that was owned by Mr. Blauvelt, because that was a residence, and no one on the board wanted to look to use eminent domain and throw someone out of their home. Mr. Blauvelt passed away a couple of years ago, and his family has entered into an agreement to allow the Goldsteins to purchase the property. So that's why that white piece was out of it, because it was colored as white because it didn't have the ability to get eminent domain. The property to the right
It's part of the project now?
It's part of the project. The piece next to it, there's one last blue piece. No, move your finger right inside the zone. That piece is not in it, and that's what originally bought the plan from 1.66 to 1.49. That piece of property just, that was...
Is that the restaurant supply store?
Yes,
or
correct.
Is that
That is not in it, but Mr.
people?
Blauvelt's is, correct.
Why isn't that in it?
It just, in terms
The
of...
whole piece should be in it if you're going to do a project.
It couldn't, the amount of money that the person wanted. Okay,
Train
sorry.
use.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I just...
Sure.
I don't want to cut into your time, just hold on.
You can answer.
Yeah, let me just clarify. The graphic that I had put up as part of the initial part of the presentation was taken from the urban renewal plan and was to provide some context to the village as to how they've been considering planning for the past several years. And you're right, there are, the codes were, and the properties were colored differently in that plan for different reasons, as the mayor has indicated. Just to clarify, again, that the properties are in some relationship to the applicant, and that with the exception of number 7, and that's why it went from 1.67 to 1.49 acres.
Okay. Is there anything else at the time? Was there any other?
Yeah, I do have another
Sure.
couple
Just
of
ask one more
comments.
question if you could, please.
I think everybody should realize one thing. Nobody here, let me put it this way, I didn't know anything about this plan until after the planning board had made a decision to change the zone and present it to the board. There's a history at the town of Ramapo to ignore the county planning board's advice. It seems like the same thing is going to happen here. And every time we get to this point in any project, in any local government setting, when there's a public hearing, the decision has been made already. We're here being patronized tonight. We're being listened to because it's legal. They have to have a meeting to have the people say something after they've already decided to do something. So let's be real here tonight. The decision's made. If you live in the village, we're screwed. We have too much traffic. I live on the corner of Ramapo and First. Talk about a cut-through. Ramapo Avenue is a ridiculous cut-through. Traffic comes anytime. It's a Friday night in the summer. I can't get out of my driveway on Ramapo and First, let alone this poor guy who lives on Park, he's in a condo on Park Place. I had to fight the village of Suffern to get my huge house turned into a two-family. It's not a done deal. They could screw me right now. I don't know. But I think I had to compromise. I wanted to have a blanket two-family, but I agreed to owner-occupied two-family because I really don't have any intention of leaving the village. I like living here, thank goodness. And I take care of my property, and if I have a tenant, they're going to take care of the property because I'm going to be living there. And that was always my intention. It's because if I get old and gray and I want to move to Thailand, where my wife is from, I thought I'd be able to have the right to use my property any way I wanted, but I didn't. So I compromised. But the point is, we're here at a public hearing. The deal is done.
Thank you, Mr.
Everybody should realize that who's sitting in this room.
Ganser?
And when you pull the trigger on November 7th, think about who you're going to vote for the
Excuse
next
me.
government.
Jeff, Jeff, can I, Mayor, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Jeff, I just want to tell you something. You had made a comment on that, that Mr. Goldstein may have seemed a little defensive. And I'd like to tell you that if you were at the workshop, you'd probably know maybe I may have been to blame for that because I kind of beat him up a little bit. So there's no decision that's been made because I made my reservations about the project perfectly clear at the workshop. I beat Mr. Goldstein up quite a bit that evening. And so if there's a decision that's been made, it certainly wasn't made with me involved in it. So, that's a little offensive because it is because the point of
Please, I'm asking you please to respect the rules.
The point of the matter is that, this project is at least 10 years in its infancy. 10 years ago, it was proposed. As Dagan said, there's no perfect project, but certainly I believe that I'm here tonight, and I hope the rest of the board is, to make a decision on something that's going to impact our entire village, not just one neighborhood, okay? This is going to impact the entire village. So you all coming here tonight has given me a lot to think about, and a lot of my questions are your questions. And I don't think it's something that we're ready to just quickly, quick draw a decision on. And I don't think that anybody's concerns here tonight are not going to be, digested by the board. So I want to say to you that I personally have not made a decision. I did not hear anything at the workshop that a decision had been made. I know that there was a lot of concerns. I probably had most of them. But, for you to come up and say something like that, again, I don't think we're getting anywhere.
Mr. Genser, you had your comment, please. Respect the rules.
So, like I said, it's a 10-year, it's nothing that we jumped into, and we're here tonight for that reason, is to hear, everyone's input.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay,
Jeff,
but not here. This is something that I'm taking very seriously. I think there's a big impact on our village.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Trish. 2 minutes. We're back. If everyone could please sit down. It has to be a date, sir.
So, ladies and gentlemen, so we could continue. I just wanted to end my comments by asking the board. I feel that this is much too much tonight to make a decision on. I think that there's a lot of things that we really need to look into. I think there's a lot of things to be considered here.
Can everyone please just be quiet for a second?
Yeah, if I could just make a few comments.
Trish, just wait till there's quiet.
We got to finish the hearing. Don't we have more speakers?
Yeah.
No, we don't.
We don't? Oh, no, good.
I have everyone. I went.
So I would ask Mayor and Board if we can actually continue this public hearing, not make a decision tonight, to hold it over, to give us time to take all of your comments and your concerns into consideration, as well as our concerns, to get some answers to some of those. So I respectfully ask that we do not close the public hearing, but carry it over for a time period so that we can, further look into this project.
Trish, if there are 2 more people, I have no problem doing that. We just need to pick a date, but there are 2 more people on the list who haven't had the chance.
Oh, sorry.
They just signed up.
So, Pete
sorry.
Melendez?
I just didn't want it to close, I'm sorry.
And then I don't see a problem with that if we can all come up with a mutually acceptable date.
Hello, everyone. I have 2 questions.
Address, name and address?
Pete Melendez, 6 Riverside Drive, Suffern, New York. And I'm a very proud owner of my own house. Question number 1. With this project, will it affect our value of our home? That's question number 1. Question number 2. You're going to have tenants moving here. Are they going to pay taxes like we pay taxes for our schools?
Oh, yeah. This building is going to bring in money for the downtown, yes.
Well, the thing is that...
This is a rateable. This is a rateable.
Well, those are the two questions. My concern is...
Sure.
Would our values going to stay up? Because I'm paying a lot of taxes, and I don't want my property to go down because we're going to have a building. Even though it's away from us, but it will still have an impact, plus the traffic, everything else that surround us. And the second question, like I said before, is the taxes.
I agree with you. I think a big reason I touched in my earlier comments is, the downtown originally for this village was the economic engine. I can tell you as a fact that our downtown costs the village right now. It costs taxpayers. It's not a profit center. So bringing in redevelopment in the downtown and ratables in the downtown will increase our tax base and draw people into our downtown. So obviously there's a huge economic driver to this. Margaret Perry.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Just a quick question in terms of if, the plan goes through and we do the zone and everything like that, and it's built, and if people don't come, then what happens? That's my concern. Like, we have 111 units, and you can't get 1,500 to 2,400, then what happens?
Okay. Again, that's legitimate concerns that are expressed. Okay, so I would like to thank everybody. I don't know if the board members have any comments, but I know that there's before that, if you want to adjourn this, if we could pick a date to adjourn it to, that would be appropriate. And the one thing I would like to say is, I know that there had been some concern about this. This project has been going on for 10 years. I understand we've had, I think this is either our third or fourth public hearing on this project in different incarnations. I know you're all busy, and that's why you have elected officials, but I can assure you that this was not, intended to be sprung on people. We've discussed this. Anybody who's known me and my involvement in the village as a trustee and mayor for the last 9 years, I don't think that there's nary a time when I speak about downtown revitalization that I don't talk about wanting to build on Orange Avenue. So I think that building a maximum of a 6-story building with 100 units generally has been something that I think most people would know that we've been considering for at least 5 or 6 years. We had a public hearing in this building. The planning board, again, made a recommendation. They didn't vote on the zone change. This is a process. I know you're all busy, and we want to keep people involved, but I can assure you that this is something we've wanted to do, I've wanted to do as part of this administration. I believe it's the right thing for the future of this building. The Goldstein family, again, approached this really as an initial discussion to see what could be built here. Because I think when we look at what's there and what we have now and the fact that our downtown is hurting, again, as I said in the comments, I don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good, and everyone wants this to fit in and to be something that's good for the village. I thank you for the opportunity, and I can assure you there are no conspiracy theories here. We're all trying to work together to achieve the same thing. I appreciate the spirited debate, and again, all that I ask, if anyone has any comments, that we pick a date where we can adjourn this to a date certain. Yeah, look, I think, again, that's a question which can be answered. There are questions here tonight that will be responded to. We'll make the answers available. I mean, they can, like anything else you can say, I mean, if you want to answer that, Josh, sure. I mean, what you're seeking, what a market rate rental is, if you don't get the rents, I mean, anything can say, anything will happen, but, I don't know how you want to respond to that, if you want. And then do you have a comment?
Yeah. Certainly we think that the market is there for this type of product. There's a need for, there hasn't been this type of upscale rental units in Rockland County, or at least in this part of Rockland County. So this is this is adding to the diversity of the housing stock within the community. So we think that there is a definite market, especially considering all of the amenities that are within...
Everyone could just please just keep the...
Particularly given all of the amenities that are available within walking distance of this particular site, given the access to mass transit and the New York City housing market, given the quality of life here in Suffern. With respect to the projected rental rates, I'll let Mr. Goldstein speak to that. And again, his family has extensive experience within Rockland County to judge the market and what it can bear.
I have a comment I'd like to say. Sure.
the project is not going to be completed tomorrow, okay? So this process takes a long time. We're talking about tenants possibly taking occupancy 2 to 3 years from now, okay? We have done an extensive market analysis of rents, and market analysis basically consists of taking, I think, a 10-mile radius around this point, and it basically tells you what people are willing to pay for rents. And yes, the numbers that the mayor had shared with you does say that this project can obtain those rents, okay?
I know Mr. Meehan and Mr. Corrigan had a comment.
Yeah, well, just fast, and that to the person who asked about, if they're going to be able to rent these people have been in this business a long time, and they really know what they're talking about as far as the rentals, and they wouldn't be spending all this amount of time and money if they didn't think they could rent them. That's not the concern.
Ms. Corrigan?
Okay, in the paper of the Rockland County Times, there's an article that pertains directly to what we're all reviewing, and it happens to be Ginsburg, who is building in Havistraw, who is doing luxury high rents. I would urge everyone who has any question on rentals versus condos that maybe you could read on that and see what your opinion is.
Okay, if anyone doesn't have any comments, I think, can we pick a date sometime next week to adjourn this to? 7:30 again, if everyone's okay. I'm looking, today's the 15th. Are we good a week from today, a week from tomorrow, a week from Thursday, Monday?
Today.
Sorry?
Well, okay, yeah.
A week from today?
Yeah, that's fine.
We do Tuesday, the 22nd at 7:30? Okay. Stacy? Everyone wants to know why meetings change. They make them and go home, and it's like, oh, that's your brother's wedding, Is that okay with everybody? So I don't know if there's a motion.
Are you doing a week?
Yeah.
Continue the public hearing.
Yeah, I think it's adjourned to 8:06. Continuation. Yeah, continuation. Terry, continuation.
Everybody's okay with a
In
week?
terms of form, right? Continuation, okay. Is there a motion to continue the public hearing on Tuesday, October 22nd at 7:30?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7:30 then?
7:30, I vote yes. Motion is approved. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This will be continued on October 22nd at 7:30.
Could we adjourn?
What?
Recess?
And we have more. We're going to have a quick recess here. We're going to talk right about Yorkshire Drive. So we had the discussion on Yorkshire Drive. I'll let it go open to any board member up here to kind of take this because,
I do have something to say. I actually spent... Oh, who's going? Did you
No,
wanna
you go.
Go, you go first.
No, say what you're going to say, because I'll be at the end.
You'll be at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be at the right end, you'll be at the left end.
So I spent a lot of time up on Yorkshire Drive over the last few days, and I kind of stood around at different times of the day to look at the traffic flow and to look at the different things that are happening in that area. And I think the two things that I noticed most was A, the speed limit is now 25 miles per hour, and B, we've now put stop signs in. So the traffic flow through there is, I would say, in speaking to the residents up there, much better since we've made those two, I think, improvements in the area. I also noticed that I drove it, and I was thinking to myself, as I'm driving it, I'm paying more attention to the road, because there is no yellow lines there. So I'm paying much more attention to the road and where I am on the road. I also looked at roads with yellow lines that are straightaways, and I drove them, and I also noticed that I probably was going a little faster when there was yellow lines on the road. So for me, I really feel like the yellow lines would probably kind of take away what we've done with the speed limits and the stop signs. I feel as though they're probably not really that necessary up there, and I think it probably would make traffic go a little faster on this road than need be. So that's my comments on Yorkshire Drive and yellow lines.
Who would like to be next? Joe.
I'll go next. We were looking into having a solution that would sort of work for, say, both sides of the fence. They who want the double yellow line and they who do not want the double yellow line. We were not able to get everything put together as quickly as we would like, waiting for people to get back to you. Sometimes they take a little bit longer. So we were looking at their reflectors. So we don't have all the information, and I just wanted to let everybody know that we're trying to find a solution for that, but we are not ready, and we don't have all the information. But I don't think anybody wants to move the vote, so...
I'm ready to vote on it. I'm ashamed to say that I voted for that because I was being told I couldn't do it. And that was wrong, and I apologize. I live up there. I've been there 42 years. I can't remember when there was a yellow line or when there wasn't a yellow line. And I don't know if any impact having it or not having it does have. I'm really ashamed of my vote, and I apologize. As far as I'm concerned, I hold on to the little belief that we're still rural. And putting the yellow line there, the double yellow line, sort of chips away at that. And, call me Pollyanna, but I'm ready to vote to rescind it.
Jack, do you want to say?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. This wasn't on our agenda this evening, and Joe and I had worked this. We really wanted to see if we could compromise this, and we spoke to the people who were in favor of the yellow line, and they're in favor for safety reasons, and a lot of them are in favor of the older people, and they're driving at night and they're walking, and if you get older, you really like to have double yellow lines. I know I do, and I'm older. And what we wanted to do is compromise this. Now, I left on vacation a couple of weeks ago in Russia. But Joe said she would work with Charles Sawicki to look into the possibilities of reflectors, and we would hope that the people would find the reflectors less ominous, that they wouldn't be a problem, that they wouldn't be as distasteful as a double yellow line. So what I'm going to suggest is that, Charles, do you think you can come up with this information within a week?
Yes, I have most of it. I'm trying to get my hands on it.
Okay, and what I'm going to suggest is, we have scheduled that public hearing for 7:30. Now, we could schedule the meeting earlier for you folks. So you come in around 7 or something. And
Jack?
Yeah, welcome. See, thank you.
Jack?
No, I know you all waited.
Jack, we actually got to see the reflectors at the workshop. I know you were on vacation.
Yeah.
You had a wonderful trip. And I think that when we're talking about putting the reflectors down, I had mentioned to Charles, first of all, I want to thank Joe because I think it's a great thing that you try to do the compromise. But I had spoke to Charles about, these reflectors in snowstorms and the plows and pulling them up. And, there was one that was clearly a lot nicer than the other. And Charles said, yes, that's because they're expensive and the other ones are not so expensive. But the point is it's just going to be something, again, that's going to have to keep getting replaced, and then you're driving along and there's a couple there, but then there's a couple missing, so now are we creating more of a safety issue instead of, just leaving it alone?
Actually, Trish, we were looking at the recessed ones, which would not be hit by snow plows, and they would not have to be replaced. That's what's taking a little bit of extra time.
They wouldn't come out at all, Charles?
No.
Okay.
They only slightly raised above the road surface, a quarter of an inch.
Okay, so that there's no way that they could be pulled up?
Okay.
And what is it going to be funded?
Okay, look, I mean, look, I know how I personally feel on it. I understand that that there's a process everyone wants to go through here. I don't want to not have a process, but I also don't want to drag it on. I mean, I personally think, I felt that it was appropriate below Parkside, where the road narrows and people park on the side. I live up there. There hasn't really been, any accidents. I don't want to, jinx it. What's that, a Kinahara? Right. Is it, which one is it? Kanahara, which is the bad one. And,
go to vote then.
People don't want it there. I mean, it's to me, it's,
I think it's a big investment.
It's more on this than the Orange Avenue building.
I think it's a big investment to make over something that is not a problem. I mean, if we had a lot of accidents up there and we had a lot of problems up there, I would say, hey, you know what, we got to do something. I just...
Yeah, if someone can come
Please come up, because you're not getting on the recording unless you're up here.
Sorry, now that everyone left, it just feels so much more intimate.
Come on up.
We need to make sure we get names and addresses and do it right.
Hi, I'm Jody Sipfer. I live on 24 Yorkshire Drive. I've lived in the village of Suffern for 20 years, since 1993. I love living here. I do not have one single child in the school district. However, I continue to live here because I love it so much. And I think the reflectors are a nice idea. However, I think we've been grasping at straws with this entire situation since it began. Some of the residents and I spent 2.5 hours over the weekend going up and down Yorkshire Drive. We even went up through the condos, spoke to residents, and the residents said they do not want the double yellow line.
You should throw your hat in the election now. You've been knocking on doors.
I know. We knocked on doors and we had them sign a petition, and there were several residents in the condos that stated that they do not want the double yellow line, that they feel that it will be much more of a safety hazard and cause excessive speed. This is a neighborhood. There are people walking and running. They are fine. I'm a stay-at-home mother. I watch outside. I see what's going on. Quite frankly, the only speeding issue that I see is in the morning with Chestnut Ridge Transportation bus drivers, if you want to know the truth. And I've called Chestnut Ridge to complain about their bus drivers speeding through Bon Air and Yorkshire.
Yes.
That is the safety hazard right now, are the Chestnut Ridge, not all of them, but the ones that are driving in our neighborhood are speeding with all of our children in their buses, who take those buses. However, the point of the matter is that the residents don't want it. We feel it's a detriment to our neighborhood. It will decrease the net worth of our houses, even though many of us will be staying there for a very long time. And again, people are walking their dogs. I walk my dogs, running, riding their bicycles, and going down the neighborhood. And like I said, the people in the condos up on Yorkshire Drive all signed the petition because they don't even want the double yellow line. I think the gentleman who spoke was very nice, and I respect him for being so healthy at his age and for wanting to walk, but he doesn't even live in our neighborhood, and he's the one who brought this to your attention. It's just, the whole thing is ludicrous. I think a decision needs to be made tonight. We don't want the double yellow line. That's it.
I'm gonna actually call for a vote. I'll move that no double yellow lines be put onto Yorkshire Drive.
Can I speak? It's not a public hearing.
It's not a public hearing, it's a board. I mean, okay,
No, it's not.
Okay,
It's not a
it's
public
okay. We're not going to deny anyone the opportunity if they want to speak.
Once we've let one person
Yeah,
talk, we've
that's
got
how
to let
I feel
others.
too.
More democracy, the better. This government is not shut down. It's quite the opposite. It'll be open all night long.
Yeah.
Listen,
Leave the porch light on.
I'm not really one way or the other on this. I can sympathize with the people that live up there. My concern is
that a traffic study's been done and recommended this. The chief of police... Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you.
You had your point. Do me a favor if you could just address the board so that we don't get into
Well,
that.
I wasn't addressing them.
No, it's okay.
I said I
Look over
didn't
here.
have
Yeah,
an
just look
opinion.
over, it makes it easier.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll start again. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I'm basing my talking on the fact that a traffic study recommended this. The police chief recommended this.
This has got to stop.
Please, if everyone can just please stop shouting,
Okay, there's no point in talking if I'm going to go back and
Jim,
forth.
go ahead. It's fine. We apologize. Go ahead.
This is a safety issue. I live on a street with 3 houses on the street, and I have a double yellow line. Should I get 3 signatures and tell them to take my double yellow line off? Come on, guys. I don't really care about the double yellow line on my street. It was put there for safety reasons. And if you don't take my word for it, I'll invite the chief to come up and tell you.
Okay, there's just so again, let me just get to this. I think that if everyone wants to talk, I think it's pretty obvious that there's a consensus on this issue. In terms of the traffic study, it was done in September 2009. The speed limit on the road was 30. It's now 25, and at that time there was no stop sign at Essex. Okay, it says that based on these observations and the level of traffic observed during the weekly afternoon time period, it is recommended that the village consider installing a double yellow center line for its entire length of Yorkshire Drive. At a minimum, the village should consider installing the center line from Cragmere to Lancaster, which is 40 foot wide of the roadway section, and then it says in the vicinity of multifamily homes located in Milford and Parkside, the village should consider installing an off-center double line to permit parking along the northerly side of this roadway. That has been done. That part was done. So, I mean, we could go through a whole nother traffic study, spend more money, or I think that there are 3 members of the board here who pretty much said that they don't want the double yellow line. I'm one of them. Is there a reason to go on, or let's just have a vote? You know, maybe we're all getting a little punchy. So, again, I don't want to stop the discussion, but if people want to talk, but I think it's pretty obvious.
I moved it.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, should we do a roll call on this? Because
we'd like to comment on the roll call.
Okay, sure, because this, may be what we're judged by one day. I don't mean to mock, I'm sorry. Mr. Falciglia, wait, what are we voting for? Yes or no on the double yellow line? Yes, meaning there should be no?
There should be no double yellow line.
Okay, so to be clear, no double yellow line is a yes.
No.
Mr. Falciglia?
No.
No.
You want
meant to vote
double
yes?
No, I don't want the double yellow line.
Okay,
You
so
didn't
you're
listen, you're
voting
supposed to vote yes.
I didn't know you.
My motion is that there not be a double yellow line on Yorkshire Drive.
Who seconded it?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Abato.
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan.
How did Trish vote so I know how to vote?
She voted yes.
No.
Mr. Meehan, you want to?
Well, yeah, I just think it's terribly unfair to the other people who were concerned about this, that this vote takes place tonight, and they don't have their say in it. I know it was a long night, I know it's a long time to wait, but 1 week more doesn't make that much of a difference. And for safety reasons, I vote no.
Okay, I'm voting yes.
No line.
Okay.
You gotta be happy.
I'm not happy because I didn't get a chance to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry. You could go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tell the way it's going that you were not going to go to the double yellow.
No, I understand. I'm sorry.
I do have reason.
Isabel, I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead. It's just this has been I'm sorry. At some point, I apologize if the frustration of this being discussed
I understand.
ad nauseum for 4 years. I apologize.
And I do know that it's a foregone conclusion that you're going to vote not to have double
We
yellow.
still want to hear, Isabel.
Go ahead.
But I don't live up there. I live on Parkside Drive. I've lived there for 55 years. I'm just going to read my little thing here. I'm here to speak about the Yorkshire Drive and the double yellow line. I am a friend and was a supporter of Phil Fergang during his time on the board of trustees, and he was a supporter of my husband Andy during his reign as trustee and mayor. However, on this issue, I have to disagree with Phil. Yorkshire Drive is definitely a very busy road. I have lived in the Foxwood area on Parkside Drive for 50 years. When we first moved there, the only traffic we had was the cars of the people who lived there. My kids could play in the street and not have to worry about traffic. Then a few years later, Stonegate and Bon Air were built, making Parkside Drive, Maplewood Boulevard, and Meadowbrook Lane through streets leading to Franklin Turnpike in Mahwah, New Jersey. The residents of the Yorkshire Drive area, which includes several side streets, and the residents of Bon Air use Yorkshire Drive, Parkside Drive, Meadowbrook Lane, and Maplewood Boulevard to get to Franklin Turnpike. All of the streets I have just mentioned have double yellow lines. My little section of Parkside Drive is double yellow lined. Cars coming from all areas from Cragmere use Yorkshire as the first road they come to get to their homes in Bon Air, Stonegate, or Franklin Turnpike in Mahwah. For these reasons, I believe Yorkshire Drive should also have these double yellow lines, just like every street that's a main road in Suffern has double yellow lines. Is that correct?
No.
Every road, every main road in the village of Suffern has double yellow lines?
Pretty safe to say, yes.
Yes. And most of the roads in Suffern are 25 miles an hour now. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Okay. Thank you again. Sorry. Thank everyone for coming. Feel free to stay for the rest of the meeting. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, fire department. Update, chief.
I know.
I kept asking everybody if they want to put it on the agenda.
It was on the, it just was a mistake that it wasn't. I don't know why. Go ahead, chief.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Mr. Mayor and Board, I have a few items on the agenda this evening. We have two applicants for the Suffern Hook and Ladder. First one is Alex Harper, and the second one is Josh Sheridan. I'd like the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Follow the process.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
The other item was the anticipation of having the 2015 4th of July parade. I was asked at the workshop to get some budget numbers for DPW and police overtime, which I personally don't think it's going to affect the budget that much, but I was given a number of approximately $6,000 in police overtime and about $2,500 in DPW overtime. My personal opinion is I don't think it's going to overrun either one of their budgets any more than it does on any other given year, so I believe it's going to be a zero impact towards the budget, but I was asked to get those numbers, so I
Look
did.
at that. Now he's telling us about budgets.
I have to tell you.
You want a truck or do you want your parade? If you don't have a truck, then why have a parade?
I hear Tom laughing.
Mike, I have to tell you that I'm really in favor of bringing some parades back to Suffern. I think we've really gotten away from them, and I think it's something that, this village was always proud of. A lot of pride took it, our residents came out for these parades, and I think, with all that's going on in this world, we need some good, positive things here in the village. So I would move for you to go through and go ahead with the July 4th parade.
Is there a second on that?
Yeah, second. And the comment is that this would be a county parade. Is that correct?
4th of July.
Yeah, 4th of July, but
It's open to the whole county, but typically it's not as big as...
in other words, it's just going to be a Suffern sponsored
It's not as big as, it's not as big as the county
We
parade.
used to do before. Okay.
What day is it?
July 4th.
July
I know that. I meant Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
What is July 4th in 2015? A Saturday? Saturday.
That's even greater.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure what day of the week it is,
That's
but...
great, Mike. You didn't do your homework. You don't even know what day of the week it is?
Well,
Lloyd, what day of the week is
it's
it?
a national holiday.
It's a Saturday.
Saturday.
What better day for a parade than a Saturday?
Saturday.
It's 2015. I hope to be in my Caribbean island by then. Okay, so we have a first and a second, Jack, right? All in favor?
Yeah.
Yes. We need a roll.
Opposed? No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all opposed? I think everyone was in favor?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, chief.
Yay.
Thanks for your support.
Okay,
I'm going home, going to bed.
Okay, good night. Culture and recreation.
I know.
Charles Falciglia, one of the numbers.
Good evening, Mayor, Village Board, thank you for having me. A few things that we have for the Village of Suffern Recreation. We had the Lions Club blood drive tonight. I was going to invite everybody over to go participate, but that is over now. It finished at 9 tonight. We have on Wednesday, October 16th, which is tomorrow, the Senior Club will have the Halloween luncheon at the Community Center. We have our window painting coming up this Saturday, October 19th, where 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students from the middle school and Sacred Heart participate and paint windows up and down Lafayette Avenue. We have the Suffern Museum. The grand reopening is this Sunday, October 20th. We invite everybody to come out and see the new museum. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The Halloween parade will be on Sunday, October 27th. That's going to be at 2 o'clock, starting down at the end of Lafayette and going to the gazebo at 2 o'clock. We have a Halloween movie night this year. It's going to be the day after Halloween, November 1st, and we're inviting everybody to come out. It's going to be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's going to be at 7 o'clock at the Community Center. We have coming up on November 2nd, the Dare Hockey Rink Playground dedication. We are going to be having that opening up. As if anybody's driven by, we don't have any of the construction started yet, but we have it all in motion to start very soon.
And we'll be naming the playground in memory of John Gee, former village employee who passed away two years ago.
Right. We have the Winters Farmer Market starting on November 9th. It will be indoors at the Community Center, and it will run roughly every other Saturday at the Community Center. The Veterans Day Parade will be Monday, November 11th, which is on Veterans Day. The lining up is here in Village Hall at 10:30, and then at 11 o'clock is the ceremony at Soldiers Monument. We have on sale now, for anyone that's interested, Radio City Music Hall. We're going to be sponsoring a trip to the city. Tickets are $75, so call the Village of Suffern Recreation Department for tickets. We have the Hanukkah celebration will be on Monday, December 2nd at the gazebo and at the community center. We have, as we were just talking about parades, we want to have a fun time in Suffern. We're going to have the holiday parade and Santa greeting on Thursday, December 5th with the lighting of the Christmas tree. And then on Sunday, December 8th, we're going to have the Pearl Harbor ceremony.
Excellent. Good job. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'm going to divert us a little bit. Okay, I just got word on an email, and this is something we had discussed. I didn't think we'd be able to act tonight, but I just got word that the parking authority, obviously we need to confirm this, had a special meeting tonight and passed a resolution 4-0, asking the village board to take over responsibility for supervision of the parking authority officers under the police department. I know it's not on the agenda, but I believe it's something that we had discussed in a workshop, and based on needing the parking authority to request it first. Obviously, Terry, I want to make sure that, it is as advertised, but, I think that in bringing this to the attention, I think the board may want to act on this because this is something that we had discussed. So I don't know if anyone wants to talk about it.
Will that be effective immediately?
I got word in the email that the parking authority met tonight and passed a resolution 4-0, accepting or requesting that the supervision of the officers be under the police department. If we want, we can try to, I don't know if we can do this tonight or make the arrangements to do it at the next, at the special board meeting. I discussed this with the chief. Yeah, and you can do this as part of your...
Yeah, you just give me a little time, because I don't really know much about the duties, I'll be honest with you. To sit down and figure out what the actual duties are, I would appreciate a little time just to figure out what I need to do on my end.
Okay. It's not going to make a difference.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do we need to do a resolution then at the next meeting?
Well,
yeah, I think we should.
If you want to do a resolution of intent or something, I don't know who's paying for these guys. I don't want it in the police.
No, this is what's going to happen. Is this the understanding and the discussion would be that it's important that their function is really to a large degree an extension of what some police activities do.
Function,
so it would be, the plan would be, and I know Charles has been involved in this, that the plan would be that essentially the chief would supervise them, his department, assign them, monitor them, but ultimately, you know, when their hours are done, the payment will still come from the parking authority. Ultimately, we've discussed long-term options on the parking authority, so presumably that change, but in the meantime, this does not affect the police department's budget. It just makes sense that people with that kind of discretion should be under a department that's housed in Village Hall. Because, you know, not that everyone isn't trying to do a good job, but it's just not typically the way we otherwise operate the village, and we want to make sure that they're doing what's right and what their purpose is, so I think this is appropriate. If anyone else, how we do it exactly, we can wait till that meeting, but I just thought it'd be important since we had discussed this. Anyone want comment or any suggestion, or?
Who should I meet with in regards to the duties? Who would be the best?
Well, we can talk about that, the parking authority, to figure that out. So is it okay, does the board want to just wait till the meeting?
Yeah, let's wait.
Okay, what I can do is I'll get a copy of the resolution from the parking authority, and then we can make sure the chief sits down and hopefully be in a position to, for it to take effect at the special board meeting on the 22nd.
Yeah.
I don't think they could do that.
Is that fine? Charles?
I have no problem with that.
Trish, fine?
I have no problem.
Yeah.
Joe? Jan?
You said all the members, all the board members agreed, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, chief?
Okay.
Yes, he's not here.
You guys got a lot going on. Just to accept the resignation of Kyle Lynch as dispatcher. He accepted a job with the Sheriff's Department. He's only been with us for a few months. Village resident, did a great job. He just took a job at the Sheriff's Department. So I'm going to ask for the board to accept his resignation, and I will start a search for another candidate immediately.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I vote yes, motion is
Okay,
carried.
thank you. And one other thing, tomorrow we have I've set up a police chiefs luncheon with numerous chiefs from around the region at the Meehan, so if you see a lot of police cars in town, you know what they're here for. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, chief. Okay, village attorney.
Thank you. First of all, quickly, as I told the board last week, I had confirmation that the deed's been recorded for the Rockland Terrace property for a park, and so I understand you're going to be going ahead and putting in the play equipment and improvements there. Fortunately, that's done after a long and torturous journey. We also closed on 2 of the properties in Squires Gate that are the subject of the FEMA buyouts, and there's one issue with one of the other properties. Hopefully we'll be able to close on that within the next couple of weeks. The only other item I had on the agenda, we talked at the workshop meeting about the third-party action against us. The state of New York sued the town of Clarkstown. The town of Clarkstown brought in everybody who's ever had any dumping at the Clarkstown landfill under CERCLA. We've negotiated what is a very cheap settlement under the circumstances, and I'm looking for authorization to settle the claim for $13,000. That'll also provide indemnification and protection from any other third-party claims whatsoever.
I think it's important to note, we had discussed this, and I had done some litigation when I was an attorney. You have to be very careful because there's joint and several liability. So if you don't settle and it ends up that there's $1 million or $10 million, whatever it is, even if there's 50 different plaintiffs, they can go after one plaintiff for the entire $10 million, sorry, defendant for the entire $10 million. So it's not pro rata, you're on the hook for all of it, and if everybody is broke and we're the only one with pockets, they can come after Suffern for the full amount. So based on the ability to settle for a cost like that and get out of this litigation with an unlimited upside, it seems very prudent.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion is carried. Is that it? Thank you, Terry. Okay, Department of Public Works.
We've got the grant.
He's not here, but there's no work for him, right? Well, we're gonna do the committee.
Well, we have a resolution. I'll bring that.
Good evening, Mayor and the board. Last week, the DPW received 2 resignations, one from the Water Department and one from the Street Department.
Can you Can we have a motion to accept the resignations of those employees by name, though?
Yeah, put the names in. You have to.
So we have to do that. Can someone make a motion?
So moved.
Can we state that? I can state them, it doesn't.
Yeah, what are the names? I think I know the names.
Daniel Hagland and Joseph Tripoli.
Yeah, sort of regretfully, because I know Dan had done good work for the village, and it was an unfortunate situation with him.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? I vote yes, the resignations are accepted.
I have assigned Mr. Scott Brown additional administrative responsibilities to assist the street department supervisor. These additional responsibilities include manpower scheduling of refuse and weekend duty personnel, maintenance of overtime reports, prepare daily and bi-weekly payroll reports, prepare the refuse collection schedule, and prepare monthly fuel consumption reports. I am requesting authorization to increase Mr. Scott Brown hourly rate to $33.47 effective October 16, 2013.
So moved.
I will administer all procurement and receiving activities. This will allow the street department supervisor more time in the field, increasing productivity.
Okay, I know Tricia made a motion. This, we had an extensive discussion at the workshop, Jack wasn't there, relating to the fact that these two employees are no longer with us. This frees up a lot of opportunities and really a lot of flexibility and mobility in our current work staff in the Department of Public Works. We identified, obviously, significant cost savings to the village without affecting our services if certain employees, including Mr. Brown, Mr. Hunt, who's standing in now temporarily, and I think we're looking to, I don't know if that's part of it, advertise a position for
Yes,
permanent
actually,
supervisor,
it
and
may
then
have-
also you.
It may have been posted today. It was the intent to have it posted today. If it wasn't posted today, it would be posted tomorrow.
And so the plan is there, this will save the village money, and also we have current employees who can move into the mechanic's position. So, again, we want to be able to keep the services level and save money, and this presents us with that great opportunity. And the people who are taking on additional responsibilities, we're asking that they be compensated because, the village is saving money and they're taking on additional responsibilities.
There's the projected net savings over the years about...
Okay, the net savings, right now, ultimately, we're looking at, the net is $120,000. The increases we're looking for today, I think, cost about $25,000 maybe. So you're talking about a savings of a little over $100,000 a year. It is the intention, though, as Mr. Sawicki said, that we're going to look to hire another laborer in the street department. So obviously that'll take a little bit of time to get the right applicant. Once that happens, and the annual savings will roughly be, $60,000, $65,000, $70,000 a year. So it's a significant savings to the village, and we can make up for it through looking to promote people internally, which is always what we look to do.
We have a motion, no second.
Second.
Oh, second.
I second.
Second, so this would be on Mr. Brown's...
Increase salary.
Increase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Falciglia.
Yes.
Mrs. Abato.
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
I am requesting authorization to adjust Mr. John Conklin, Assistant Chief Water Treatment Operator, to a pay grade 19 at a rate of $38.04 per hour, effective October 16, 2013. Mr. Conklin is currently the Assistant Chief Water Treatment Operator and has successfully passed the exam for a 1B operator's license.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Falciglia.
Yes.
Mrs. Abato.
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
And I vote yes. And again, part of the savings on that move, the recent resignations, will be reflected in the water department because Mr. Hagland was originally in the street department but was moving to the water department. But now that, because he had a water license, but now that Mr. Conklin has gotten a license, Mr. Cotiers has gotten a license, right? Mr. Al,
Yeah, Mr. Chamberlain is
Chamberlain is
very, very
licensed.
close. He just has one more course that he needs to take, and he's doing that, I believe, this month.
so yeah, so we have, it's really great, Charles. I know we've gone from one license to now, even if this person has resigned, we're gonna have 4, right?
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah.
impressive.
Absolutely.
Okay, we voted on that, right?
All right, I am requesting payment authorization of application for payment number 1 for roadway improvements phase number 6 project to Bella Vista Construction Corp. in the amount of $198,134.77.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting authorization to accept the lowest cost turnkey proposal for 3 drives, motors, and control panels for the UV pump system at the wastewater treatment plant. This proposal is from Tasco Associates, Inc., Kennelon, New Jersey, in the amount of $28,675. This cost will be charged to the wastewater treatment plant capital account.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
I am requesting authorization to accept a sole source proposal for the secondary digester recirculating pump in the amount of $20,600. This is a Wemco pump, and Dave Heiner Associates, Parsippany, New Jersey, is the manufacturer's distributor. This cost will be charged to the wastewater treatment capital account.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
That's it, thank you.
Hey, Charles, thank you. Okay, village clerk. Audience participation.
Just gonna say audience.
Please tell me everybody is.
No.
Oh, there you go. Okay, come on up.
Adam DiStefano, 19 Prairie Avenue. Sorry, I would have brought this up at last board meeting, but I was not here. It's over the budget that I obtained. We lost $90,000 in the building permits from revenue, as you know, from the previous fiscal year that just ended. Those projects, we're going to get that money when the Washington and Wayne Avenue projects are done, correct? That's what the $90,000 that we lost in the revenue and building permits were from?
Sorry?
Remember, it was when I met with you and Tom Zordan with the $90,000?
Yeah, there was also Gitlow Towers.
And Gitlow Towers. Well, the reason I'm bringing that up, in the previous budget that was just passed, the Wayne and Washington Avenue projects were also included in the building permit revenue and building permits for revenue. How can we have the same 2 projects in back-to-back years?
The one that we had discussed is really the Gitlow. Tom can discuss this if you want. Go ahead, Tom. You come on up, please.
Come to the
Tom,
mic.
can you please come up? Thank you.
No scooter.
That's why he doesn't want to come up.
When we prepared a budget, we put in what we believe to be the revenues, and we said, okay, Wayne Avenue, Gitlow Towers, et cetera, are going to be in the budget. Then what happens is, if they don't occur, we're short revenue. But we don't get to say, hey, we know we're going to recognize that revenue either next year or the year after, and just let it go away. We have to put it back in the budget. So the original year was short $90,000. That's over and done with. Okay, now we start the next year and we say, okay, what's going to happen? Well, Gitlow and this are going to happen. And then we put it in the budget because it's going to happen in that year, as we believe. And if it doesn't happen, then we're short money and we have to move it forward. But we know these things are going to happen because the people have come before the boards. And if there's a timing issue because, you know, they can't get financing, or they feel the market's soft, or in Gitlo's...
Gitlo was a matter of the government shutdown affected it.
Whatever.
And the furlough
We still have to keep it in going forward. We can't, say, okay, we had it in the budget 3 years ago, so let's recognize it 3 years ago. That year's gone and over, and whatever the final number was, that's what it is.
Yeah. What I'm talking about, though, is this budget was passed before the numbers were completed for that year. And we have the loss of $90,000 from that. And because now we included a $90,000 anticipated revenue again for this year, we're short that $90,000 automatically.
You're not. There's a $17 million project that's approved from Gitlo.
Yes.
$17 million. The building permit alone is
Yes, no, I know, $170,000 for that, then you have $30,000 for the Wayne Avenue, and $60,000 for Washington.
Okay, if you add that back in, that alone will cover the revenue for almost a 2-year period. So, again,
That was included in the budget for this year also,
Sure.
though.
Whatever, we'll look into it and we'll discuss it, no problem. What's your question?
Well, it's just, I'm wondering why the same two projects would be put in back-to-back years.
It's not, the projects aren't put in, it's a revenue line that is put in.
No, but those were the projects that were expected the revenue from.
Okay.
That's where my confusion's from. You have the same two projects.
That's not true. It's not written in that way. So we don't identify the actual projects. We identify a revenue line, as Tom has said. So he can explain it again.
You identified those two exact projects for this year's budget.
Let him answer the question. Adam, thank you.
Like I said, what happens is, when we do the budget, we figure out what's going to go into a number.
Yes.
If that doesn't happen, the year is over and done with, it's going to happen the next year. So we have to put it in the next year, otherwise we shortchange the taxpayers and say, okay,
well,
even though...
What about this $90,000 we have to make up? Because we're short $90,000 revenue.
Right.
Yes.
We're short $90,000 in revenue. That is correct, okay? But we can't magically pull $90,000 out of the year anymore, because number one, the year's over, and if someone doesn't do the project. But on top of that, you have to take the general fund budget in totality, okay? We missed revenue on the general fund budget of $12 million budget. It's now down to like $5,000 since I spoke to you. In total budget is off by $5,000 in revenue.
Yeah, it's just my concern is it seemed like two of the same projects were used back to back, and I was wondering why that would happen.
Can we explain this enough? I think that this is it's an accounting issue.
Yes, no, I wanted to make sure with, that's why I wanted to make sure with that.
You guys can discuss it, yes, I think he'll answer
thank you for your answer,
sufficiency. Thank you. Okay, anyone else have, Jim
I notice on the agenda that we are looking to extend the CSEA contract for another 2 years.
Correct.
Didn't we just extend it for 2 years not too long ago?
Correct.
What is the purpose of extending a contract to 2017? What does the village gain by projecting a raise out 3.5 years?
It is something that we're looking into, and a consideration of this board would be whether raises going out for that term, which are an extension of the current contract at 2.75%, are appropriate. And that's something that the village will consider. The terms other than that are unchanged.
So, contracts are great. Usually one side gets something and the other side gets something. You're telling me nothing changed but an increase in pay?
I would say that the board's reason for approaching, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but let's just say that right now, currently, I think that the CSEA and the people who work for this village are happy, and they believe that they work in a good environment. It's taken us a while to get there. I think we've, gotten rid of bad actors and looked to promote and encourage those who do a good job to advance. We have a good culture, and I think what they're asking is to get insurance that when there's volatility in terms of elections, and they could possibly end up getting mayors who in the past in administrations haven't been friendly. They're requesting that the village look to continue it under the same terms. And based on, my personal belief of what we're projecting in the years forward, I think a 2.75% increase is reasonable. If they were asking for 4s, I don't think I'd personally be entertaining it, but they're asking for an extension of 2 years based on no changes other than extending it other than the current years. Sorry, the current terms. Nothing else different.
And I
Zero.
said I don't have a problem with that, except that it's a one-way contract.
It's a what?
It's a one-way contract.
How so?
You're giving a raise, and are you gaining productivity? Are you gaining an increased contribution
Well, I
of
think
some
we
type?
typically have always given raises, so I think that we're giving a raise that's in line.
Somebody's got to be gaining from this.
You asked a question, I gave an answer. I think that without directing the specific response to the speaker, one who has taken a wide view of history in this village could understand why outside anything, right, you're saying, what else are they getting? 2.7, let's just say they're concerned about necessarily the future direction of this village and they want to ensure that their jobs are secure and protecting an environment that they enjoy working in.
And evidently the board's not concerned that it's going to cost them an additional $240,000
Over what? Over the
over the 2-year term.
I mean, the rents, the raises are in line what we've given before. 270, so $130,000 a year, is that, 2.7, that's probably about right.
No, they're cumulative.
Yeah, cumulative. Yeah, I think, and that's what's in line with what we've been doing. We've always given raises. I don't think there's been a year where we haven't given raises.
We don't give raises.
We try to give in reasonable and keep taxes under the tax cap.
Well, all I can say is a lot of senior citizens are going to be very unhappy because they're getting 1.5 from the government and Social Security.
Well, and that's what they got. The village increase this year was 1.4, so we try to...
Maybe that's what the contract should extend for.
Yeah, well, if we can give a 2% plus raise and keep taxes below 2%, increase productivity, show that we have savings like we did tonight, I think we're doing a pretty good job.
You didn't say anything about increased productivity when I asked you the original question.
Well, before, we said that, what we discussed earlier, is that we have people who resigned. We're looking to use that opportunity to save the village money without having a cut to services. So I think that...
And if you didn't make these changes in light of the resignations, you would have saved how much money? $195,000 or $95,000?
This is a request. The board will entertain it. It's at the current terms and extension of it.
Well, it's your decision, absolutely.
Thank you.
I love the panicked look on the faces whenever I come up. Hi, everybody. Bruce Simon. I'm here on behalf of the Recycling Committee. I just want to update the mayor and the board on the plans for Not Just Battery Saturday, which is Saturday, November 2nd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here in the Village Hall parking lot. The update is we will have paper recycling this year. It has been asked for. It has been requested. We're able to secure that. Thanks to the Chamber of Commerce, they are picking up the tab for this, so there is no cost to the village. There will be a truck here. There will also be, I want to say again, 2 members of our DPW who have volunteered their time. Again, no cost to the village. This is just something that is, I think, a great thing for everybody here in the village. Once again, briefly, you can bring down small electronics, CFL light bulbs, batteries, of course. Now you can bring down your paper. It will be shredded securely. You don't want it out of your basement? Good. It's gone. Thank you, everybody.
Hang on, Bruce. Clerk, did we...
Thought I was getting away good there.
Did you bring popcorn?
I'm sorry?
Did you bring popcorn?
I don't bring popcorn. My son brings popcorn. Anybody interested? My son is a Boy Scout. It is popcorn selling season.
I was going to announce that.
Give me a call. I'm listed. I'll be happy to bring him by with his form.
There you go. See, I gave him a plug. But, Clark, did we find out anything about the prescription drug?
We should be good. I was just writing that down. We talked about prescription. What we will do is we will have someone there and we'll get it over to the Sheriff's Department when we start. Yes. If you guys would like to do that, we can work on that.
Yes, absolutely. We did that in the spring when we did it. I think it worked out well.
A lot of people have been asking for it, so...
Yes.
I think you have no problem with that.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Trish. I didn't mention that. Anybody has any medications, prescription or non, just bring it. It gets deposited. It gets taken up to the fireman's center up in Pomona, and they take care of it properly. Don't flush it down the toilet. Don't pour it down the sink, please. We like our water supply just the way it is. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're a little punchy, it's getting
That's what
late.
you call
I get it.
exactly, a little punchy. Okay, we have village clerk.
We have the approval of the minutes, that's special board minutes of September the 12th, 2013.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I vote yes, motion is carried.
And the minutes of the regular board meeting of September the 17th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I vote yes, motion is carried.
We also have a request from the VFW for Veterans Day Parade on Monday, November the 11th, 2013, and they'll congregate out here and we'll march to the monument.
Excellent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. I vote yes, motion is carried.
All right. My next request has to be postponed. Clark, our chief, was going to check on this to see if it has to be a public hearing on it, because if it was a poster
No parking sign, okay.
on the parking sign.
Okay.
Chief didn't have time.
Okay.
Now we have a resolution that should be read. I think Trish is going to read it. Resolution number 15.
Oh, this is the grant writer thingy?
Whereas this organization has received a legislative initiative grant in the New York State budget, and whereas there are specific requirements and regulations governing the expenditures of these funds, now therefore this body resolves the following. 1. Administration of all funds under this grant will be in accordance with all the terms, conditions contained in the guidelines for non-construction projects $50,000 and under, September 3rd, 2013, provided by the New York State Office of Parks and Recreation and Historic Preservation. And 2, that Dagan LaCorte, as mayor of our organization, is hereby authorized to sign legal documents on behalf of our organization, and that such signature is an acknowledgement of the acceptance by this body of compliance with all terms and conditions of the master contract for grants contract number PKS 06PA067 to be executed for the grant.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I vote yes, motion is carried.
This is resolution number 15, Mayor.
Done?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, Finance Department. We're getting there, guys. Gals.
I forgot why I'm here. Good evening, Mayor and Board. Almost morning, I guess. But anyway, one item that I have is, as you know, Jay Super and Son had the DPW and the police out there helping them navigate through village streets, and for this, they gave us $15,000. So in light of that, you know, normally the money we get goes right in, and we keep all that stuff, but I'd like to use it because it was directly related to using up overtime. So I'd like to have $10,000 allocated to the street department overline budget and $5,000 allocated to the police overtime budget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Tom.
You're
Is that it? Okay. Okay, I need to activate the Citizens Advisory Committee for the block grant program, community development. Do I have the list?
I gave it to you. Hold on.
You gave it to me somewhere here.
Hold on.
Let me, okay, no, yes. Dorothy McClintock, Ernie Bosco, John Paul Malfetta, Heather Ford, Charles Rogers, committee advisors Fred Rella and Charles Sawicki. Is there a motion to confirm?
Motion to confirm.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is confirmed. Okay, appointment of Nancy Christopher to Recreation Information Clerk at $18.68 per hour. She applied for this position.
Motion to, are you appointing? Or no,
I'm appointing, right?
Right. So
Okay.
motion to confirm.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I vote yes, motion is carried. Then we have an extension of a CSEA contract from May 31st, 2015 to May 31st, 2017.
Can we,
Sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we hold that over for 1 week? I'd like to read, for what it's worth, I'd just like to read the whole contract. I'm not against an extension. That's, obviously a common business practice.
No, that's fine, that's fine. We can just remove it, do you want to just put it on the agenda for the special board meeting?
Yeah, considering it's going to be a week.
It's becoming very special, isn't it?
It is.
It's gonna be as long as
very
tonight.
special.
No.
It's going to be another 11 o'clock.
Hey, as I said,
I might get burned.
tell those, House members, take a lesson from us, we work hard. Okay, we'll move that till next week, next Tuesday. Okay, a couple of things. We had a request by Terry regarding, how do you want to say this? Medical coverage pursuant to retirement or separation. I guess it was a memorialization of previous discussions that were had with other mayors, and Terry came to the board and requested that regardless of separation of service, that he be granted medical benefits as if he retired. Obviously, he's put in enough years that it would make him eligible for retirement. I think it just takes effect under the rare circumstances that you're no longer with the village and you don't retire and you work in another government. And I think that under those circumstances, my belief that is a appropriate request. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll move it.
Draft letter to everybody.
Second.
Okay, should we do a roll call?
Yes.
Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. How many years have you been with us?
Come on, my tape is almost
33
down.
years. Okay, I'm doing my best. Okay, two other items. We had discussed earlier.
Somewhere confusing.
We had discussed earlier the resignation of 2 employees and that we were shifting some responsibilities. We had been discussing with this with respect to the union, with the acting supervisor, again, whose position has been posted, and I think we should be able to act on that at the special board meeting as well as our superintendent of public works. 3 various people are taking on additional responsibilities. The board had a discussion with respect to Charles Sawicki, who has been with the village now, I believe, 5 years? It'll be 5 years? 4.5? And is doing an excellent job. He really is a gem. He comes from a lot of experience in the private sector and takes that kind of bottom line approach to the village of Suffern in terms of ensuring that when we have public works contracts that we get the best value for our dollar. And even though he's not paid extra to do it, nobody beats up contractors like Charles Sawicki, and I mean that in a good way, in that he ensures that again, we're getting our bucks, and that his attitude, his approach has saved us a lot of money. Also, with respect to him taking on additional responsibilities that had been reserved in the past to the supervisor at the street department, we felt that orders, other things like that should flow to his office to ensure that village money is spent wisely and that we're getting what we pay for. So as a result of that, the village had discussed a raise for Mr. Sawicki. This raise represents I think it's about it's an 8% raise from his current salary. It's a $10,000 raise. I think, again, we're not in the business typically of giving out raises like that, but I believe based on what he's doing, what he's done, how much money he saved the village, and really what someone of his expertise and skill set would demand, really, and would be in demand anywhere else, I think that that's appropriate. And again, will still leave us saving significant money.
Mayor?
Sure.
This vote is a no-brainer, and I've been here a long time, and he's really outstanding. He's done a much better job than any of his predecessors that I can remember.
Absolutely.
So
he needs, and Jack wasn't at the meeting, but it represents an 8% raise, $10,000. Does anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Falciglia?
Yes.
Do we have to amend the salary or just say the raise or whatever? Okay, sure. Mrs. Abato?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes. And again, Charles, you're more than deserved. Thank you for all your hard work to this village. God, he gets a raise and a round of applause. Okay, and the last item on the agenda is there's been a request for a 15-minute parking sign on Lafayette Avenue outside in the vicinity of Colonial Florist. We've tried to do this for businesses that tend to have people who come in for short periods of time. We've done one in front of the liquor store. We've done one in front of the pizza place.
I thought it was the one that was going to be over by Artistic Floors and the hardware store.
That's done. This is another one. One more down by the other side. There's no 15-minute. Well,
I don't
sorry.
remember us talking about that, sorry.
I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. There has been a request.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Can we do that at the meeting too, so we
Want to talk about the meeting? I said I would bring it up tonight, but we can talk about it at the special board meeting.
15 minutes is fine.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect it.
No, you know what I mean? So could we just like do that at the meeting too?
14 minutes? Can we act on that if we do that tonight?
No, I don't have a problem with it.
I'm kidding. It was a
I don't
joke.
either, but just give us time to...
No, without a doubt. I just wanted to bring it up. We can discuss this. I just wanted to bring it up tonight. Sure. You want to set a public hearing? Well, we can set it at the next meeting. It's fine. I can't think anymore.
I can't think
Because
anymore.
I really, Virginia.
All right, motion to set a public hearing, 7:40.
Sure. On October 19th. No, 22nd.
22nd, Mayor.
Is there a second?
So moved, the second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. I don't think that there's anything else.
Motion to
Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Second.